suffering from the massive, massive performance impact of Intel and everyone else's failure.
Yeah.
Well, Intel, I think actually it's more on the software manufacturer's side of things on the basis that it's to do with how things are handled. Intrinsically, the hardware itself is not vulnerable. It's just how memory is managed in relation to the hardware that's the vulnerable bit. But still, yay, performance impacts. I can't say I'm feeling it, but hey, there we go.
Regardless whether it's software or not, the CEO of Intel basically sold as much stock as he legally could the other day, given the...
Oh yeah, he sold like $22 million worth of Intel stock, like just before... No, it wasn't just before, it was like back in October. And to be fair, they did make some statements saying that like, actually this was part of a like pre-planned selling schedule for stocks, which is probably legitimate. The way it works in some of those big companies, they can't sell stocks unless it's on a legitimized schedule because they have to earn a certain amount of stocks in the company at any given time and stuff like that. It's a bit weird and messed up. But hello, chat. You see, look, we managed to actually be in the middle of a legitimate discussion when we started tonight. How about that? Weren't even trolling. So there you go. Congratulations, everybody. You now have all of your computer hardware is unsecure. Insecure. I suspect is the real one. You're right, Attitude Gamer. What's up, man? Thank you for the donation.
Potentially 30% performance hits, depending on what you do.
No. That was an absolute maximum case. That was worst case scenario, and I think the average was much more like 5%.
Well, 5%.
Or a few frames in your game of choice, for the most part.
In your game of choice, yes, but imagine you're doing a very long render and you have to add 5% onto the time it takes.
Chat Meribring, good evening, good night, and all of those things. The turrets are opening up, which is interesting because tonight is actually a little bit different. You'll notice that I am joined this evening by, Mr. Wedgie, and no Mr. Tex. And while it's obviously wonderful to be joined by Mr. Wedgie, that does mean that we might be doing something a little bit different because, as is being nicely demonstrated by our turrets currently, we are in fact in the middle of a war. Yep. Uncooperative Survival has turned into a war zone. Not only that, it looks like Lucas has upgraded his drones to actually work on planets properly as well. To be fair, this does look glorious with everything going off like that. And I don't even think it's all of the turrets going off. I think it's only some of them. But the reason they're all going off like that, as some more attentive people might recognise, is because we're actually in creative mode. Tonight is prototyping night. Because myself and Mr. Wedgie, we have entered the VR building mode. Our suite here on the moon is equipped with a virtual simulation, basically a direct copy of our existing world in which we can mess around, test out various designs, make sure we're ready for the encroaching drone threat. So that is the plan for tonight. These gits here have got us on the run, and it's time we built some more devious devices. That did look pretty glorious. Nice. It's time we built some devious devices to push back against these gits. And that does, I'm afraid, potentially mean that it might be time to retire our friend down here. Wonderful though he's been, and reliable though he's been, he's quite a lump for what he is. You're right there, Wedgie.
Yeah. So
he's just inefficient. He was converted too many times to too many different things. There's too many ideas that were once going to be a thing and now aren't on him. I would like to, and to be fair, while it is entirely appropriate for Boris, he is a little overarmed. Just a little. Look at those turrets. Look how many of them there are. Those Mark 1 batteries are so devastating. And there's like 20 of them on Boris. It's not necessary. And all it does is slow him down. He's got hydrogen on him he's not using. He doesn't have enough shields. He's got 2 cockpits, one of which that's just straight up broken now for some reason, and no one can control the ship from the bottom one. So there's that. This is not a main cockpit. Yes, it is a main cockpit. We went through this. And not only that, but if someone else gets in the other one, in that one, then it stops the other one from working and all sorts. So it might be time for Boris to at least take a back seat as a reserve. It's time for Ivanka the Love Spanner. Ivanka the Love Spanner.
Oh, God.
God damn it, chat. Oh, an
So that's
Imperial
where
Thought
we're
of the
going.
Day from Commissar Fox. If a task is worth doing, it's worth dying for. Give those drone buggers a good one too for me. So Wedgie, what is your mind for tonight? Have you got any ideas as to what it is that you want to be working on? We have the luxury of being able to prototype freely. What do you want to do?
I'm concerned, and I'm sure you are, about our resources in the platinum area. So, two-pronged thing. We tend to use a lot of platinum in weapons, so I want to.
And uranium as well. A lot of
uranium.
a lot of the ammo we've been building of late has required uranium as well as platinum.
So we're using a lot of that in our weapons. So what if we just have a dumb weapon that's just a big chunk of metal that's propelled into something at very high speed? And to, alleviate our lack of platinum and uranium, we build a very clever mining machine using hover engines.
Okay. Have you had any testing on whether the hover engines work properly on the moon? And guys in chat, just quickly, I've posted a link up in there if you guys want to play along with Wasted Space Bullshit Bingo. There is your link for the evening. Let me know if anyone manages to get bingo. We'll see how we go. We've only just started, and so far I've remembered to switch to the right screen. We've done all the correct things so far, so unfortunately you do not begin with any of your boxes ticked.
I thought we were running the TBM drills at some point. Or did we not do that? Hello?
No, we didn't do that, man. We didn't do that. Sorry, I was trying to fix... Apparently the bingo link is not working. That's unfortunate. It's in Discord. There you go. There's a chance to pimp Discord. We have an awesome Discord server, in which there's a Wasted Cave, in which you can find the link. There you go. It will be VODed, Sir Coconut. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So that sounds interesting, Wedgie. I'd like to see some testing on that as well, although we have made an agreement that we're not going to do any testing against our actual opponents. We can only test against stuff that is our stuff, as such. Ships we've built, so that we can sort of test against the partisan, perhaps, but it'd be unfair to spoil that surprise. I personally am going to be working on... I think I'm going to be working on a few little things. A replacement for Boris is definitely on the cards, but I don't think I'm going to begin there. I think I might begin with... well, kind of... two very, very simple ideas. One of them is for a rotor-mounted detachable turret that we can just slap down on whatever vessel we want for when we want an extra gunner. Because Space Engineers is not very good with extra gunners. It doesn't like you having multiple people controlling stuff within the same vessel. But I think if you were to do it with something that, say, wasn't on the vessel, it might stop complaining. And I also mentioned at some point that I really wanted to make some drones that were going to patrol for us. So I think I might even begin with some little patrol drones and see if I can make something that's going to act as, when we get back to the Sky Donut, wherever she is, around somewhere, there's something we can let loose to patrol and defend what's going on,
You said detachable rotor turret. Are you not asking for death?
No, I'm not. Sorry, detachable rotor. It doesn't connect via a rotor. I'm thinking it connects via landing gears.
Right.
But then he's just rotor mounted, so you can use Whip's turret, Mart, to control it. And then we can use the torpedo mod. So it can be like a mountable torpedo turret, and we use the host ship's bob and cargo to build the torpedoes, rather than trying to have them on the turret. So you've got this super cheap, super little turret that just clamps down onto a ship, and then can launch torpedoes, and we just attach it to whatever we want, and we can have someone riding like, Jane style from the Firefly movie on the back of the wreck, ready to launch torpedoes at whatever horrid drone comes our way.
I see nothing wrong with that plan. What could possibly go wrong?
What is CTD on the bingo board? Come on now. CTD, crash the desktop. None of those yet. So Wedgie has begun, and you're going straight for the miner.
I'm going straight for a miner, yeah.
Cool. Alright, I'm going to set up a little platform nearby, and I might go straight for this silly torpedo turret I've been mentioning, actually. There's part of me that thinks that's actually quite a fun little project, just a little clamp down, landing gear based. Haha, screw you drones. We have silly weapons. Okay, my bars are going to be completely and utterly wrong for this. You have not been building this sort of thing so far. You guys all have, like... I mean, I guess you probably do, Wedgie. What about you guys in chat? Like, does everyone do the same thing as I do? Have, like, there's a sort of layout that you have for your bars that is, like, kind of your default one? Like, that's how I like to have my bars set up when I'm beginning regardless. This is the order. And I've got to admit, mine's changed a bit since they added in the, like, the scroll wheel blocks. Which was ages ago, but, yeah.
Mine is total chaos. So it suits me pretty
Yours
well.
is total chaos. Okay, so there is no organisation there whatsoever. It's just, here's some shit. Okay. Okay. So for this specifically, we're going to want a projector. I'm going to have to mess around with the torpedo blocks, which will be fun. Hooray, creative! It's been a little while since I did anything with the torpedo blocks, and the last one I did was with the nuke penetrator. What? There is now a nuke penetrator, apparently. I have no idea what a nuke penetrator is.
Sounds painful, whatever it is.
Sounds like two very different things, though. If you know what I mean. Right,
I was under the impression that nukes didn't really, penetrate. They just more obliterated anything that was nearby.
CC interface, hardpoint. God, it's been a while since I used these. I'm so blatantly going to screw this up really hard to begin with. Do I need to do anything with... I'm going to need a camera. I don't think I need to do anything with payloads. And then we need... Where's the guidance block? I need my guidance. There we go. Nice. Spacebar! My first donation. Here's some funds for the Ministry of Silly Weapons. Ooh. That needs to be a skit. No, I'm not going to use the nuke because a nuke's going to be really expensive, and we have a resource limit that's pretty strict here. Half of the point is let's develop some weapons and some things that are going to be potentially effective at fighting the drones without spoiling our budget. Yeah, there's an argument at the moment that we are potentially sort of almost spending a bit too much on some of the stuff we've been making. Obviously, building the good intentions, for example, was a decent investment. That was not a cheap one. And while it's been definitely worthwhile, we now need, I think, some slightly cheaper ordnance. And as Wedgie's managing, a mining vessel that might help us out as well. Right, I kind of want to hang this inside. Which way round does Mart like its rotors, Wedge? Horizontal or vertical first?
Horizontal first, then vertical.
Okay, so it wants the bottom rotor first, and okay, roger. I get you. Interesting. Okay, in which case... I want to build it with 3 legs. Don't know why. This seems very important. Is there any type of PEM weapons? Asks Alvaro. What is a PEM weapon? PM. I don't know what this is. Any idea, Wedge?
No clue.
No clue. Okay, there you go. Help us. I realised the nuke penetrator is a nuclear warhead. Come on now. It was the idea of it also being a penetrator. That's either horrible or a lie. So, Mr. Wedge, you're building a miner. What is you thinking?
I'm thinking if we have hover engines on all directions, it can dig a tunnel and keep itself centered in a tunnel quite happily.
Have you tested this at all?
Nope, we're doing it live.
Okay, interesting. Because I've heard some reports about people that have. And all I'll say is we'll see if you encounter the same issues they did.
Okay.
There was certainly there's some finesse needed to that sort of design, I think, to make it really work.
We don't have copy paste on.
We don't have finesse. Yes, I know. We do have copy paste on because I can promote you, and
oh, thank you.
then you can become a Space Master. Sorry, PEM in Spanish is supposed to be disposable electronic devices. Okay. Not sure that really helps, but hey. Okay, so we got that one, and then it wants the vertical afterwards. It can slave two rotors together, though, can't it? Yes, it can. I already know the answer to this. So, how are we going to want to sit this thing? That might not be high enough. All right. Being lazy, Wedge. Oh, there was a danger of me being lazy. I'll back away.
You being lazy.
Gotta make it look good. Don't you? That's not cool.
What?
I turned you gits off. Okay, Wedgie, there might be a few drones about that might be problematic at the moment.
Okay, well, I'm underground now, because the mole actually works.
Oh, nice. What I was building just basically got removed from the game.
Oh, that's probably because you're near a bob.
No. Definitely missiles. 100%. 100% missiles. Michael Christensen, good luck with your torp turret. Did one also ago. Works great with Mark. Remember to have a block space for payload equipment or it won't weld. Okay. Payload equipment. Is that block I've got to get down? Maybe I'm misunderstanding you. Oh, I see. No, I see what you mean. Yeah, okay. Understood. Talking about clearance. Yeah, I turned all the I turned all the drone spawning and all the mods off before we joined. So this is just stuff that's already in game.
Residual.
Something did a very good job of just going, haha, start again, fool. Oh, Jesus. Oh, fun beginning. I don't want heavy armor because these things are supposed to be super cheap. So we shouldn't need heavy armor. The torpedoes have got such a ridiculous range on them as well. It's not like this is this. I mean, maybe, but we need to make an underground base so that you can see Lucas build a bunker buster.
God. Don't give him ideas. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Oh dear! Especially it doesn't help that he like actively tunes into the streams to get ideas. Like,
how can I fuck around with these?
What are they up
this
to?
Week?
What are they up to, and how can I counter it? I'm down for that, of course. That's why we won't be doing any sneaky testing against his existing stuff tonight with our prototyping, because that feels like a bit cheating. You know, if we get to learn the enemy too well, then we'll know all of his weaknesses. That's not fair. You need to roll the dice in proper survival mode.
Okay, there's something here I'd like to show you, real quick. Let me see if this thing does need some better thrusters.
You've done what you always do. I can see it from here.
Yeah, but it's kind of necessary for this. If you come down here,
with the gyros,
you'll see. Yeah, with the gyros, it's necessary.
Okay, it's just
I know.
I'm just filling in chat. in that Wedgie, in my opinion, just like insists every single fucking time of putting too many gyros on his ship. And you get into it, it's like, okay, this is the twitchiest thing I have ever driven. How on earth do you just not break it immediately on a nearby surface? And normally about 15 minutes after I say that, it does actually get broken.
It does break, yeah.
Yes.
However, it's just dug quite a clean tunnel over here. If you pop down through,
tunnel?
If you pop down through here, and then whiz around, and then you come out the other end.
It did the corner?
So, yeah.
Without hurting itself? Have you got shields
Without,
on it, or...?
No shields.
Okay. Okay.
So, something like this, if we can find ourselves a decent ore patch, could be quite useful.
Now, can I potentially make a recommendation for this?
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier in the... Well, I was jabbering with Tex about design ideas. And one of the things we were thinking of doing with the mining vessel was actually giving it a cockpit on both ends.
Right.
Or some way of looking in both directions better than a camera. On the basis that way, when it comes time to get back out of the hole again, you're doing it from a sensible point of view.
This thing just turns around and digs
No, I know,
straight
but
up.
in reality, the most efficient way is just to go straight down to the ore you want, dig it out, and then come straight back out again. We don't need all those all that extra stone.
True. Well, what it could do is it could just turn around and then go back up the hole that it's already dug. I mean, that's what the hover engines are pretty good at.
Yeah, it's true. It does. They do seem to be working, but I thought there was going to be more problems with them, but maybe you've got the settings just right on like the first try somehow.
Oh, I didn't even bother doing anything with the settings.
Okay, so we left default, and default happened to be good for it.
Yeah. I just worked out that if you put them towards the middle, around where the centre of mass is, and have the drills extend out a bit, you could tilt them down without the hover engines pushing you up. Get the drills into the ground, and then you could build a decent tunneler from there. It's kind of like how you build a plane to take off, only reverse or inverted or something.
A bit, yeah. Not entirely convinced by that, but yeah, okay.
Are we getting blown up by something? Sounds like we are.
What is... It's got to be one of the turrets on one of the ships over here.
Oh shit, I've got to stay away from the bob, else it'll deconstruct it.
That's easily fixed. Goodbye. Come on now, I've only just finished it for like the next time. And apparently it's when I attach the rotor that it gets deleted. For whatever reason. I don't know what about it. I guess, is it because the rotor heads are neutral?
Hmm.
Because that looked like it was our own turrets doing it. Yeah, Seth. Strap a wedgie at the back of the mining and ask him to go beep when it's about to collide.
I'm not a parking sensor,
Warning,
leave me alone.
vehicle is reversing. How's your robot voice, Mr. Wedge? Thank you, Nia, Seth. You're a legend. One more time. Apparently. Yeah, the biggest grot. It might have been the one on the pole, but anyway, the one on the pole is gone. They're all gone. There are no more turrets. Hopefully I can build in peace, and I'm going to find out immediately by putting a landing gear down and then putting a rotor on it. Come on. What you got for me, world? You going to hate on me? Okay, we're good. We're good. All right. How many times can I rebuild a set of 3 legs? Attempt 3. Rebuild a set of legs that is a pain in the arse to mirror as well. Even better.
Right, I'm taking the miner down to the where we were mining the platinum. I'm gonna see how well it does at digging that up.
So you're doing a test before any further greebling takes place, basically.
Yeah, I want to know if it'll be worthwhile before the greebling commences.
Vital part of space engineering, the greebling. My ships are just rejecting the idea of having a rotor at all. Is that it? Just like, no, that indicates clang. We shall have nothing to do with this. No, rotors are fixed, didn't you hear? Latest patch. Not latest patch, but yes. Recent. Rotors, absolutely everything fine. Physics, fine now. Game, fine.
Absolutely nothing wrong with physics.
Is the biggest threat Lucas's turrets or yours? Well, one of the things that we do need to do when we get back into the into the proper game is set up our turrets using the smart turrets, like set up rather than just leaving them to their own devices, because the in-game one seems to just be so keen to attack random shit. It'd be nice if there was a way of actually changing the turret defaults as well, because they're all too keen. Like, we've switched to creative mode, and that on its own has been enough to mean that now, when a neutral part turns up, it gets attacked because the turrets are angry about it. I mean, if anything, surely the turret should default to just off, attack nothing, and then you should have to toggle them on. Isn't that not a more sensible way of handling it?
Well, it would make more sense, but... well, when has this game ever made sense?
A few more donations as well. Michael Burnett, where is the Frisky Badger? You don't know. Where is the Frisky Badger? What is the Frisky Badger? Am I misremembering something? I don't remember us having...
There's a Frisky Badger?
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember us having a ship called the Frisky Badger. I would have remembered something like that, I'm sure. It's an amazing name. And Reed! Oh no, I missed Attitude Gamer. I knew it. Sorry, I didn't tell you. What? The fact that it was going to blow the shit out of my lovely design. Well, thank you. Thank you for your help. And then finally, Mr. Reed, with lots of numbers after his name. Enjoy the channel and the series. Have some cash. It's the best kind of donation. Cash to the face. Thanks, man. Is that asymmetrical? Yes. Yes, it is. That is 100% not where I just copy and pasted that from, Space Engineers. Just not even close, but okay. Nor did I copy and paste it from over there. What the hell? Come on now.
So, this thing has currently mined 16,000 platinum. Now,
The platinum gods smile upon us.
yeah. That deposit, you know, the one that you said didn't exist all those weeks ago, but actually did. It's got a lot in it still by the looks of things.
Well, that's not a bad thing. You're cheating here. You're getting us inside info that's not supposed to happen.
Well, the way it seems to work is that ore deposits are in exact same places regardless of what map you're in.
I believe so, yeah. There doesn't seem to be any sort of RNG to it. The same way there's no RNG to the actual world generation, even though I think at one point it was suggested that the worlds were procedural. There is nothing procedural
there
about
isn't
Space
anything
Engineers
procedural.
worlds.
basically, I found this platinum by loading into another world and flying around the moon until I pinged it with an ore detector. And then I was like, I wonder if this is in the same place on Uncooperative Survival, and lo and behold, it was.
Yep. Of course.
So if you have like a universal waypoint where you know there's a nice ore patch or
you just build them up on your desktop in a text file. You just copy and paste them out. And you're just like, and here's the ore map of. So someone needs to get onto one of those like mapping tools and just build like the ore map of Space Engineers. Because it's clearly possible to do that. And you're just like, well, here's where all the ore is in the entire game. Enjoy. What am I doing here? These are going to conflict horribly. I wanted to make it nice and low profile, but so far this is not working out great.
Bummer.
It's always the same. You think, oh, I'll just design a simple little turret, and then it's so fucking simple, is it? Yeah, I don't know, guys. Mirror mode, it just... The amount of time... I naturally avoid it because the amount of times I forget it's on. And then, you know, while I'll admit, it's not always a massive deal. When you do forget it's on, it does tend to then mean, oh, I'm now, like, I'm redesigning this entire thing because I've just critically wounded it. Yeah, the idea is I'm trying to make a sort of relatively straightforward turret we can just slap down on the top of vessels to launch torpedoes and stuff. That uses the host vessel's bulb and cargo to build the torpedoes, but is Mart controlled for the driver of it so that we can have people legitimately helping out on vessels. Because to be honest, controlling the standard turrets isn't that useful.
Standard turrets are pretty accurate as is, so...
Why are we in creative? Because Tex is away, and so we're doing some prototyping. This is not creative, this is our VR dream state. Did you not know? While we're asleep, we're designing. Yes, yes.
Okay, 119,000 platinum now. It seems when it's heavy as well, it naturally wants to pitch up, so it kind of tells you that you need to unload.
What, you mean when it starts behaving weird, then it's time to perhaps empty the cargo containers? I like it much.
The mast is like of the storage is over the is acting like a fulcrum almost, so it pushes the nose up when it's too heavy, and that's what tells you need to get out and unload.
Okay, so these rotors are too low down at the moment, in my opinion. Just ditch those. Surprisingly enough, the rotor heads haven't fallen through the floor. Instead, they're doing magical physics things. Space engineers are very good at magical physics things.
Physics with an F.
Okay, so I want to get a bit of a rise here. So I can get the rotors mounted a bit higher up. And then... I'll back some gyros on this. I should be able to... Actually, it needs power as well. And it's going to need power. Where am I going to whack a battery on this puppy? I guess slapped underneath to the bottom. There. Temporary gyro. Best place for it. Oh, and I've put a passenger seat down. GG wasted.
Oh, you'll like this. There's a... I've gone into spectator mode and you can kind of see the tunnel formation that it's dug. And it honestly looks like, you know, one of those diagrams you see of, like, elevation when they were digging Crossrail or something like that. It looks like that, so... it's quite cool.
You ever keep an ant farm when you were a kid, Wedgie?
I didn't actually, know. I'd probably be one of those fucked up kids that, well, get them with magnifying glasses in the sun, so probably a good thing I didn't. But would anyone be really surprised by that?
Well, that's a problem. You were supposed to stop it from getting stuck in that position. Not allow it to. Better. Okay. Yeah, how's the bingo board going, guys? Stein, hey, I'm trying to build an orc ship from Battlefield Gothic. If I manage to make it, is there any chance of being added to the Boris in your game? I want to see him come after you. Well, you'd have to talk a bit to Lucas about that, but I could certainly promote the idea. And worth noting as well, one of the weapons that we have not had chance to use yet on this series, but I'm really looking forward to. Where are they? We have some very 40k weapons actually in this mod pack already. We just haven't had a chance to use them yet. Why can't I find them? They are massive cannons. But they probably have a funny icon. There they are. Macro cannons, like everyone wanted. And Nova cannons and Lance cannons. Oh yes. That there. That's what you're after. Is it untextured? Or is it just very dark? I think it might be very dark. Let's try painting it. Not pink. A colour other than pink. No, it's untextured. Oh no, it is. It's just it's still very dark. It takes on like a sheen of the look. Allow me. It's not shooting, Wedgie. It's got no power.
Oh. That would explain it. Well, this thing handles like a great big hulking mess when it's loaded up with stuff. But, because the hover engines are OP, it's not a problem.
There is just something cool about, like, the gimbal tank style weapons in Space Engineers as turrets, where they've got limited movement range, and they're just, on the ball mount instead. scanning about. Pretty funky. Okay, what else? What else do we have in that mod? We got macro cannons. We had Nova cannons and Lance
Nova
cannons. Yeah, the Nova cannon. Nova cannon's pretty sizable. Lance cannon's fairly sizable as well by those things. Yep. But it ain't no Nova cannon. Holy hell. The reason we haven't used these yet is because the resource cost for them is just ridiculous. However, I do find myself wanting to try that Nova cannon. And I must fire it. Does it have a special sound? Sounds like a no there. Alright then. Don't mind this, lads.
Whatever's happening, I'm getting horrible...
Yeah, I was spawning some again. It's fine.
Yeah, I might have smashed one of my drill bits off in the lag spike, but it's only a drill. When you see how much platinum this thing's managed to get and haul itself back home under its own power, you'll be impressed, I think.
The Nova cannon is not interested. What's the problem? Nope, not interested. Holy shit, something's interested. Something's angry.
Speed.
It's very angry. Holy shit. That's rather effective. I just watched that thing literally pinpoint during one barrage of its 6 guns, take out 3 different turrets as it changed target in between. It went bing, 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 bing. You guys all die. Okay, it looks like I've pasted her in such a position where she's out of range, out of like fire arc from most of the turrets. How about that? She's still up there, guys. Can you not see? Up there. Hello? Hello? Alright. Broken as all hell. Nova cannon. I can't control it either. That's not acceptable. We've got a seat. Let me control the Nova cannon. Yes. Oh, it's still too high up. Oh. Oh, wow. Wedgie? That might be quite lols.
Am I going to be in trouble because I am approaching?
No, you're all good. But are you nearby and can see?
I'm about 700 meters away.
All right,
I'll be there in about a minute or so because, like, I'm not exactly the fastest thing in the world, but
my word. But let's be clear. I'm a 40k fan, and even then, at times, I have to cringe at some of the stuff they've got. Because at times it just does remind you that it was made by a bunch of guys that have got some very adolescent approaches at times. But doesn't change it being fun. Let me know when you're back, Wedgie.
I'm struggling with a hill, but...
With a hill?
With a hill, yeah. I mean, I do weigh
tricky
180
buggers, those hills.
I do weigh 180 odd thousand kilos, so it is a bit of a
hills.
struggle.
But doesn't that mean that you've potentially discovered therein that maybe one thing could be improved already on the miner?
Well, not really, because if it really is a problem, I'll just tunnel right through there.
No, I'm just. I suppose you could go underground because the hover engines will help, wouldn't they? You know the fastest grid on the server? The first fastest grid on the server is the wreck of the Asmodean that you threw at the ship last stream.
And how fast is that going?
100. Next fastest is a version of Spacey McSpaceman. And his wheels. Then we have a drill.
The wheels.
Or a rack of drills
yeah.
just off into nowhere. That was probably a remains of your miner that, as I'm sure you saw, just decided it was going to be over there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like there's a few bits of your miner that are the next up. As far as fastest grids are concerned, are just off into distance. Not a big surprise. So you back now?
Apparently not. I've actually found a crashed space plane of mine. I don't fucking know where the base is now.
We're in creative. You do realise this, right?
Oh shit! I've gone exactly the wrong way.
I can also see through the world. Good stuff. This is the sort of thing that if we were still recording Group Survival would be driving me absolutely fucking bananas.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say it can make it back from the mining zone to you because it.
That's what I'm saying. It's creative. Just jump back.
Yeah.
I can't blow the Skyforge away because I don't have a blueprint of it. Is it on the workshop? If it is, I'll blow it up. No worries.
Right.
Have you returned? I need to demonstrate to you why we need to build one of these Nova cannons.
I have returned, and I have a broken down miner, kind of.
Can you see the Partisan up here?
I see the Partisan, yeah.
It is a heavy armor Partisan, just so you know. I pasted in the heavy armor one. It's using hydrogen to keep it afloat.
Okay.
And I am now going to transfer it to Space Pirates.
Do I get the feeling I'm not going to see the Partisan for much longer?
Now, I believe the Nova Cannon should be training in at this point. Well, the Partisan is kind of dropping like a rock as well. That's an interesting development, but hey. She has stopped. On the basis that this hit the ground. I need to go back and... The ground is still see-through. What is wrong with this stupid Nova Cannon as well? Is it struggling because the ground is see-through? Is that the problem? It's not even trying. Look, it's pointing somewhere completely random. It's looking at somewhere closer. That's the deal. Alright. Holy Christ, Space Engineers is taking a long time to just load in any sort of graphics this evening. Okay. I have no idea why this one suddenly decided to fall out the sky when I gave ownership to the pirates when the last one didn't. But there you go.
I could copy-paste it back and see if that helps. But it looks like all the hydro thrusters have gone off.
Yep, it's fine. Just watch the rear end.
Okay. What rear end?
Yeah. It does seem to have quite the reload time, but yeah. And quite the projectile travel time. However.
Yeah, that'll do the job.
That is quite some turret. That's pretty ridiculous, to be honest. Just separates the rear end entirely. What the hell?
I know what you were thinking then. You're easy to predict. Right.
Yeah, that just minces heavy armor. Holy hell. Right, where was I?
Have a look in the connector of this and see if that's enough platinum for you.
You told me how much platinum you got.
Well, I think we've got a bit
I believe
more
you.
now.
I believe you. It's
19K.
okay. I believe you. Have you
All
got
right.
an ejector on there, by the way?
No, not on this. This was just a proof of concept. I mean,
Okay.
I'll do a better version now, but
No, I'm just saying that might be a good
Yeah.
plan. Have an ejector
Probably-
on board. Ditch the stone so we're not bringing that back.
well, I'll have a go at that now. I've also made another discovery that I probably want to put some hover engines closer to the drills that I can toggle on and off for just moving around.
Quick, wait. Put all the rotors on, that's the answer. Wedgie, I warn you, it has become time for the deployment of the torpedo.
Oh boy.
Never fear. Never fear. Everything will be fine. Okay, so we need camera like that, guidance like that. Let's ditch the and add. Where's the one that's just got all the ports on the side? And engines. Ammo, not ammo, normal ones. Go with low power. Actually, let's go with full versions. The big boys. No, that's not the right one. Where's the... There we go. Hello, thrusters. Cool, and then pink. That's what I'm thinking. No more than that.
Do I want to ask? Oh,
Just
have
a
you
simple,
done
just a
something-
simple torp, bro. Just a simple torp. Got a stabilizer. It's got its guidance system. That's it. That's all it needs. Silent Zoner, the hacking drone works entirely off of your antenna settings, so it's kind of down to you how hard it hurts, basically.
If you turn your antennas off, I think it'll mostly be, well, inert or something.
Mwah, ha, 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 ha.
Well,
Now,
if that didn't inspire terror in you, then I don't know what would.
everything is probably fine here. However,
Probably.
there are some elements to this that I could do with a little aid with, Mr. Wedge.
Mr. Texfire?
Almost. It didn't
Almost.
actually happen. I corrected myself before you said anything. That means that I'm okay. That's how it works.
If you say so.
I haven't used Mart before.
You haven't used Mart?
No.
Okay.
So I'm assuming I'm going to need some timers, at least one, and then the programming
You'll
block.
need and timer and programming block, and then you will be pretty much ready to go.
Not only does that not surprise me, but also I approve of your use of an in
I
those.
know, right?
Surely we can add our programming block in as a cosmetic. Yeah. That I don't know, Krieg. Does it work with an airsoft antenna? With an airsoft antenna? With a laser antenna? Sorry, there was another question about airsoft in there. I don't know, to be honest, Krieg. Good night. Televalg. You lasted a lot longer than I expected. How new friendly is Grenadier Kit? An M4 or AK with an unsung grenade launcher? 3 shells, maybe 3 cyclone hand grenades. I really wouldn't recommend any sort of airsoft grenade launcher, to be honest, unless you're in it just for the fun. Because in reality, they just aren't very good. They're not very useful. They're generally quite underpowered for what they are. And yeah, leave quite a lot to be desired. They'll spray a load of BBs out, but all that really means is they're quite expensive to shoot. So yeah, I'm really not. I have one, and I'm really not a proponent of the airsoft grenade launcher. They're a bit silly.
But you are a proponent of the airsoft RPG.
No, I'm not a proponent of the airsoft RPG. Fuck off. Again, it's a silly thing. It's like Wedgie is saying this because a certain person that some of us might know from the space engineers community has a particularly popular video that focuses around a certain airsoft rocket-propelled grenade launcher. And this video entirely consists of him in short-range CQB scenarios, firing like 500 BBs at someone with a 2-shot grenade with the most impractical weapon ever created.
I mean, as you do. I mean, who doesn't use a rocket launcher for CQB?
Well, indeed, CQB RPG.
Yeah. Nothing could go wrong with that.
You could get 4 more missiles on that, more DACA. You're damn right I could. Good call, sir, good call. More missiles.
Your chat knows you so well.
Completely untested, but more missiles. To be fair, I've used the torpedo mod a few times, and I think basically we've covered the required. The only thing that's going to be necessary from this point on is setting up the actual launch timer system that's going to kick shit into action. Yeah. Right, let's build a support strap to there, because I want to change this a bit. Alright, Mr. Wedgehog.
Mr. Space.
Can I persuade you to come and apply a Mart
A Mart.
to this particular turret?
I'll see what I can do.
The projector blueprints, let's also, while you do that, I'm going to need to go for a quick AFK in a second.
Okay.
Because it's come to kitty feeding time. However, while that goes on, what I can also do is if I delete that and take a blueprint of just this bit, what do we call it? So me, info, this is going to be UC launcher. What? Cool. So now I've got a blueprint to load into the projectors when that time comes. But the nice thing about these rockets is that no part of them requires fueling, and they are entirely buildable by a ship other than the one that this turret is mounted to's Bob. So if Wedge can get Mart running, we've basically got something that can be projector or built onto an existing ship or dropped onto an existing ship and just be like, ha-ha, now the ship has got torpedoes. Suck it. And then someone can just be charging around on like a crazy turret on the top of the ship, which is just awesome on the outside. How am I going to recharge that launcher? Using, as I said, the host ship's Bob will be able to build it for us. That's why it's got projectors on it, but nothing else. It doesn't need anything else. The components and everything else will come from the host ship's Bob.
I can't name the.
Have you not got? What's the problem?
You need to rename the rotors. You need the one on the base to be called.
There you go. You should be able to now.
Oh, okay.
Right, I'll be back in a second. I need to buy it.
Okay.
Yeah, it needs a cosmetic upgrade, no question. But for now, and I've also taken a save if you want to do anything funny.
Okay.
Right, sorry for that. I just recognised there's a certain movement my cat makes, as some of you longer-term viewers might know. That when she starts sort of sitting around and in a certain way near the door, either you let her out, or at some point she relieves herself on my bed, basically. Which is not ideal. We seem to have gained ourselves some gallings.
They are necessary.
Yes, I figured because it's not designed for the torpedoes. Yeah. You need those for the targeting. No worries. It adds a certain something.
Not so much for the targeting. It needs them so it can have a working group. It's odd, but you need to have a.
Yeah. Okay. No, yeah. Understood. One good hit will wreck this turret. That is correct. I may boof bouffe, the French version of buff. Le bouffe. I may buff up the bottom end of the thing to have some shield generators on it, perhaps, or something like that, so it's got its own individual shielding, but it should, to some extent, be protected by the ship shielding. Oh, that looks good.
It's pretty slow on the base, but that does work.
It's pretty slow on the base, you say?
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
Let's have a check of your centre of mass. Oh, hang on, that's why, because it's caught on the edge there.
Oh, it's caught at the back?
Yeah.
I'll remove those blocks, they're not needed. There you go.
We'll turn the... Oh, torque's at maximum. Okay, it's still not turning.
Maybe it's stuck on the battery a bit?
Okay, well we could... Try turning now, put a gyro on it instead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of doing. There we go. Targeting wedge or.
It's got a certain look to it.
Yeah, it's got a problem though.
And that is?
This'll stick as version 1, but it's got a problem. And that is that the seat needs to move with the gun, with the rockets. It looks cooler like that.
It looks cooler, but it's less practical.
But it's less practical.
I want to turn the power down a bit on that gyro as well, but otherwise...
Okay.
No.
V1 is in existence and not bad. Not bad, but I feel like with Swift, I can't remember the word I was going to say now. I feel like fairly quickly I can put together a second version of this that is perhaps a little bit more efficient and a little bit less stupid. Because that is a little stupid. Okay, so base of it I think needs to be narrower. Although saying that, we should really do a fire test, don't you think?
I guess. What do you want to fire it at?
Something?
He's not the
You
man.
got something that I can...
We'll see. This can only end well. Heads up.
You're directly above me, and while I can technically shoot at that, which is something I might want to try and... That's, I suppose, an advantage of this layout, is it can do this. Which you'd struggle to do with any other layout if you're trying to actually move my seat around with it as well.
I'll get in the cockpit of this thing and start flying it. See if you can hit it. I mean, I'd be pretty disappointed if you couldn't, but...
Hang on. Before you do anything, chat's got a good point. What I could also do is just, on one of these arms, sort of almost build out a targeting reticule. Too close. Instead, let's do that and then same deal but inverted. Nice. There we go. There we go. Targeting Wedge or... Goodbye, Wedge. Sweet.
I didn't even see what happened then.
Having fired the rockets, the Mart is broken.
Oh.
What happened is you took a shot amidships.
Hmm.
Let's see if we can find the impact location. Aha! Impact location sighted. A decent hole, but could be better. Yeah, they've recently changed things. Wedgie, don't just plow that thing into the ground. We've got no saves. Well, at least not saves with decent stuff, and it's... Look at it. It's gonna destroy everything, man.
It'll take out the drones, though.
Well, maybe. I may be forced to delete you. Just warning you now.
Yeah, it doesn't have enough thrust to stay up in the
I was about to
galaxy.
say, watch Wedgie now impact with his face, and Space Engineers not give a shit. Goodbye. Sorry, Wedgie. But it is gone. So, yeah, for some reason, Mart broke as soon as it launched the rockets. So, hang on. I've got a blueprint of the rockets, and I need to load... Oh, shit, I don't have a proper copy anymore. God damn it. All right, set Mart back up on that empty. It's still got the projectors on it. I have a blueprint of the bits I need to stick on the projector. So, yeah.
Okay, so what do you want me to do?
Set Mart back up. Because it seems broken for some reason in that one. Only half of it's working. The horizontal's broken. Oh god, Lucas is in chat.
Oh, good grief.
Wedge is a scary man. Yes, I've said this before.
Okay, Mart's still a bit broken.
Oh, he's got one crippled arm. Poor fella. I'll add the Bob #1 geek as soon as we've got the blueprints and everything set up properly. If we add it too early, then it'll freak out. There we go. Cool, so that's now a functional one. Just, holy, you really need to turn that gyro down.
Okay.
It is a little on the violent side. Even that might be a bit much.
That's only at 30%.
You know what I mean, though? Even that
Yeah.
might be a little bit strong.
Okay, down to 10% then.
Oh, Krieg says he's been here the whole time. That looks much more turret-like. There we go. To be honest, it looks cool even with just Gatlings on it.
Hmm.
If I was to change the legs, which I think I might do, into something that was a little more low
Practical.
profile. Yeah, I went for looks, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I wanted a sort of spider-like design to the legs for whatever reason, and unfortunately what that does mean is it impacts practicality quite a lot, because you can't spin the turret around properly. So, yeah, there is that. It's alright, I'll fix it. We'll make V2 now. Wedges fix that bit. I've got the copy I need of the actual rockets. All I need to do is just adjust the leg design a bit, which isn't too bad given it's all locked down in like 3 areas. Some of that best game music ever. Why does my sound sound like it's coming from somewhere where I'm not? It's that realistic sound environment we've got going is apparently it's a bit confusing.
Realistic sound, and we're in a vacuum.
Yeah, that one.
Hmm.
To be fair, that was the point of it, was that it was going to try and make it sound like it was vibrations from within the ship rather than actually being able to hear the sound. I can't say it ever really panned out like that, but is one leg longer than the other? Why, yes, it is. I'm glad you asked. Every time.
Oh dear.
Nothing else should have been expected from a night like tonight. Space Engineers, stop making me copy a blueprint from apparently like the corner of my eye, basically. Caught the blueprint out of the corner of my eye. I was like, that's the one. There we go. Okay, so at this point she's gonna have... She's not gonna have 360, but she's gonna have a good distance.
I fear I'm becoming Texfire with my greebling right now.
Gribble, a gribble gribble.
However, we should have a proper miner up and running very soon. So,
Alright. Can't complain. Blueprint 1 done. That's what tonight's about. I mean, in the end, we do have, or while we might not have it at the moment, in fact, with Bob, we've always got it, don't we? We have the functionality to just print stuff when we want to. So if we can create some good designs in the test suite, then
we can take it from the test suite
into screwing up drone territory. Because screw those drones.
Little buggers.
Mirror mode. It's a birth defect. Mirror mode. Oh god. Okay, I guess I need to set up le projectors. That is very hard to see. Why are we building in an area of the moon that never gets light?
Because you insisted on running that funky mod that kind of...
No, but to be fair, the time of day has nothing to do with that funky mod. We would still never get light. It just might be a bit brighter than it is. Anyway, that mod makes Bessie awesome. I'd be so unhappy if we didn't have that mod. Seriously. Dark it must be.
Easily pleased is Mr. Space.
No, it's just important. Good lighting is the thing, Wedgie. It's the thing we should all aspire to.
God, this thing's basically a super potatoes.
A super potatoes?
A super potatoes,
Why
yes.
would anyone ever want that?
I don't know.
Explain yourself.
Well, it just ended up like this through necessity of design. It's kind of potatoes almost.
It is hover potatoes, yeah.
But it's actually
Although
useful.
I'm quite liking your gribbling around those hover engines. Well
That's a
gribbled,
bit
sir.
of,
Well gribbled.
That's a bit of Takeshi for you, with his funky sort of cowlings.
The cowlings for the atmospheric
yeah.
engines, yeah. That just like sit over the top of whatever, and we're like, no, cool combo. So if anyone's wondering what the fuck that is, this is part of the plane parts mod, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a cowling for an atmospheric engine, but you can kind of it like ignores collision models completely, and you can just whack it down over the top of all sorts of stuff. And it, as long as your builder the right to the size, it can frame things really quite nicely. So no, those look pretty cool. I like it. I like it.
Good.
It has dawned on me that while I did take a blueprint of one arm, the arms aren't so easily flipped like that.
And this is a problem?
It's a pain more than a problem. It means that instead of just being able to go in here and load the blueprint, I basically have to do it all again on one side.
You're right, that is a pain.
Which qualifies as a bit of a pain, yes. What I can do is thinking about it, and I should, let me do this because I need to do it again properly, really. Let's get that blueprint up. Let's do. I finally worked out, because I'm a lazy man at heart. I finally worked out how I can do this without having to redo everything again. The answer is we paste in one of these, the existing arm we've got. Now, one thing I forgot to do was set up a proper grouping for this. So what we need to do is find the guidance. Where is the guidance? These need to be in a group, because if they're not in a group, then we won't find them every time they're projected. There's a stupid, like, extra bit of rubbish to do with projectors that basically means that if your blueprints, when you're projector welding them, will not remember the names of blocks when it comes to having them in timers or in programmable blocks or whatever. But it will remember the names of groups and what blocks should be in groups. So as long as you have it all grouped up, then it'll continue to like remember all the references you've made, anything you've added to timers, anything you've added to anything else. However, if it's not grouped, it'll forget. And you can call this whatever you want, it does not matter. It'll just suddenly not recognize that block, even though it's called exactly the same thing it was previously. And I think that's the only actual thing we need to add on here. Otherwise, they can be built and launched just fine like that. And I suppose, actually, maybe we want to do the thrusters as well, just to be able to have those off until launch time comes. Power. Cool. So we got those groups now. Now I can blueprint that, which will replace my existing one. So that's one arm. But then what I can also do, because it'll retain the group settings, is delete that and do a little bit of a paste-a-roo.
Paste-a-roo?
A paste-a-roo, yeah, well known.
Is that a new phrase?
The old paste-a-roo. So we can do a bit of paste-a-roo by grabbing... This is not the right version. Let's grab a copy of you. Whack you down. Grab you from... Stop moving, otherwise I get weird. There we go. Grab you from there. Whack you on the right arm. What's happening here? Okay, doing that has freaked out Mart big style. this might end up being a bit of a killer problem. When you put these warheads down on a Mart equipped one, it just freaks. Alright. I have a solution to this for the time being, for testing purposes. Grab another copy of you. So this time, just take your arm off straight away. This is what we're interested in. Projector of the arm. The rest of it, take a copy of L missile. Should really be taking the right one from the right place as well. So, come on, let me get the square. Fuck's sake. It doesn't help that I do insist on playing Space Engineers at all times, apparently, with like the crosshair turned off.
Yeah, probably.
The crosshair's just a pain in the arse, though, man. It's just ugly.
It is ugly,
Who
isn't it?
wants a crosshair on top of their vision when so little of what you're actually doing in the game is shooting at things, and so much of what you're doing is just other stuff.
Now, a crosshair toggle button might be useful.
Yeah, but they can't do that because they've used all of the keybinds already.
That's true.
They're all gone.
There are literally none left.
I have to admit, I noticed in the patch notes from it wasn't this week, I think it was last week. They had in there as one of the patch notes, one of the fixes they'd done was to update the F1 menu to have the right voxel tool keybind. That is a voxel tool keybind that has been wrong for over a year. They changed that a long time ago. I would have been ashamed to change that shit at this point. Or at least I would have been... Not change it, but I would have been ashamed to add it to my patch notes and draw attention to it and be like, oh, by the way, the voxel keybind that got changed to K like a year plus ago, that's now actually updated in our tutorials. So that if you want to like find out what that key is just by like reading something rather than by pressing all the keys on your keyboard or watching a video that tells you what that keybind is, then you can. Congratulations.
Good job, Keen.
Hashtag support. Okay, I need to rename this so we get the right. So, info. Small grid. Nope. UC. Rocket. Other. Good naming. Good naming schemes, as always. Got locked down.
Certainly sounds like you have. Right. Do I have to paint this thing as well?
Yeah. Close, close.
Do you want this miner just ejecting stone, or do you want it collecting ice as well?
Just eject stone, yeah.
Okay.
Ice is handy, man.
Okay.
You just run out of that constantly.
Okay.
So in theory, the old projector world system is sorted. This one isn't freaking out yet. The question is now, will it freak out when I add the bob and actually build these things up? Will that then break Mart? Because if it does, then this is a unfortunate end to how things have gone so far. Have I got a bob somewhere on my bars? Come on now, Bob. All right, there you are. Bob, build, my friend. Here, let me let you fly. Grind order, near and far. Ooh. New functionality, Mr. Wedge.
So they've done something cool.
They have. They've added. Well, Bob was. What do you mean? They've done something. Bob was always cool.
Oh, I thought you were on about Keen.
No. I want about Bob. But Bob now
okay.
has. Bob now has more functionality, more controls.
Well,
that's a good point. I very good point. I did not at any point go into the projectors and set keep projection.
There you see. Rookie mistake.
Important one.
Yeah.
Don't screw that one up. Holy shit. Okay, so at the moment, no buildy. But I suspect this is because my hard points are off. Nope. Hard points are on. Projections on. Bob, not so much giving a shit. Bob? You go for me. Block is not ready. Okay. We have no power for Bob.
Bob's powerless.
He is. Poor fella.
Damn.
There you go, Bob. Did I set Bob to world projections? Probably not. I wasn't aware that was a separate option.
Right.
And that's because it doesn't seem to be. There's one in there for Projector, but not one for projections as a whole. Looks like he's busy repairing some other random shit at the moment. Oh, I'm building... He's busy building... There we go. He was busy building the rockets on some of the other ships. Like the ones I've made the blueprints from in the first place. Now he's on it. Come on, Bob. Make it work. He's built some bits and then the rest of it is, for some reason, unbuildable. What's this? Those ones over there look buildable. These blocks are buildable. This side is not. Why? Is this bit not built yet? No, it is. Bob, mate, can you stop trying to repair like random shit around the base? And we don't need this. Build my missiles. Build my missiles, you fool. That's better. That's better. Missiles are building. Nice. Certainly not the fastest reload on this turret, as it currently sits.
Not the fastest, but probably not the most potential for devastation.
Especially if I change the payload warheads to something other than the penetrators I've got at the moment, which are the cheapest. I was kind of thinking right now just have it like super cheap as far as warheads are concerned, because those are the bits that are going to need platinum and other weird stuff.
Well, platinum isn't going to be a problem anymore.
You reckon?
I reckon. I reckon we'll have platinum up the wazoo before too long.
So far, building it like this has not caused Mart to freak out. So far, we're good.
Good to hear.
However, it looks like my group hasn't projected. So it might be a case of having to manually select the guidance blocks each time. Because that group should be there, but it hasn't actually welded up with the group in. Holy hell, Bob is fairly slow. I mean, I like it because it means he's fairly balanced, but yeah. This is not a quick reloading turret as it currently sits. definitely going to need a few bobs on board, and they're going to need to be large ship bobs. Exotic Stoner Buddy put delays on the torps, make them follow each other instead of launching at the same time. That's probably a good idea. I was more just making sure that we had like a base functionality before we did anything more funky than that, to be honest.
That is a good idea.
But it is a good idea because the immediate, as we all know with space engineers, when everything impacts at once, it does tend to basically result in like the damage calculation's broken for all intents and purposes. But Mart does seem to be working. My guidance group did not rebuild itself. That might be because I haven't reloaded the projectors on this with the up-to-date blueprints. Bob ship. Bob ship called Bob. Probably. However, it's not a big deal to go in here and go G, save, G, group. Then you just add lock on and launch. And then you're like, okay, now who gets it? Wedgie, do you get it?
Do I get what? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was painting.
Who gets turret death?
Oh, well, preferably not me, given I'm doing the paint job right now. But I don't know. What do you want to give turret death to?
Technically, it has a 30-kilometer range, so.
Well, why don't you go and get the thing that's up there, or any of those things that are up there? I don't know. I'm going back to my painting. Sorry. I'm
What
gonna
have we
do my
got?
Bob Ross and Space Engineers. It definitely sounds like it's doing something. I can hear welding.
Let's go.
Oh, great. He's got a new toy. And you should be afraid.
I'm enjoying the fact that I can launch missiles at a target like 5 kilometers plus away and watch them go. It's like, goodbye, go fuck that thing up over there. That's pretty awesome. A new subscriber, Matthew Peskett. Welcome aboard, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, these are traveling together in tight formation. Good to see, of course. Let's see if I can get it to... There's a keybind, basically. There you go. If you shift middle mouse button in spectator mode, you can keybind to lock velocity to a target. So you can get this sort of... Obviously, annoying when a ship changes speed, but... Is it actually going to hit with charging past something? Are we actually going to land in on our target? Once this is working, you should build a T-34 Calliope. I know what you mean, Katie's. Like proper multi-launcher, like crazy thing. No, I'm kind of with you there. Wow, they've converged into like a single projectile by this point, basically. It is one mass that has just impacted with our station and severed it in two.
So, pretty effective then is what we're saying from that.
Nice. Okay, I'm down with this. Long-range targeted destruction. And by the time I've come back, my missiles are almost finished again. Oh my word.
Just gets better and better.
How did you fix Mart? Mart seems to break with every projection.
How did I fix Mart?
Yes, what did you do with Mart to fix it?
I had to regroup the seat, the rotors, and the Gatling guns.
Okay, so they just need to all be in the same group, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Seat, rotors, Gatling guns. Rotor... Gatlings. And seat. Yep. Good call, Mr. Wedge. Not too hard. A shame we can't automate that, but yes. Maybe with a script we can, but as by default, that's not automatable. But still, that does the job. It's also not remembering my... It's annoying it's not remembering my group names, so you can't use the same groups as previously. We got North Pole of Moon. There's more up there. Let's take out whatever the red thing is next. Yeah, now it does need to be signed. You're right. Now it needs to go off one at a time, because let's demonstrate this just by adding them manually for now. But launch, and then we'll set a group for the whole lot to lock. So we have ourselves a target. What's that that's gone? One of them was launched already, apparently. Yeah, I ran into this lot previously. They like to launch as a group regardless of what you do. When you hit launch, they'll go, even if they're not actually grouped. However, they do look pretty in flight. Good call, Zotic. See if the timer will remember the group. It could be, right? It could be. But if Mart's changing stuff under the hood, unfortunately, I'm not clued up enough with scripting to be able to fix that. Hey, ZRT, how you going, man? And no, you can't give subs on YouTube, unfortunately. Oh, get wrecked. Was there anything? I can hear clang, like something's penetrated, but yeah. Wow. Get owned. The shields just went, nah. Boris is not on the Steam Workshop. No. I don't understand how it loses the group on the Gatling gun and the rotors, given that they aren't being reprojected. They're not part of the reprojection. You know what I mean? It's just, they're just completely independent to all of that stuff. So how's the miner looking, sir? You're looking fairly...
I'm just putting the projections on it now.
You're happy, then?
I'm pretty happy with this, yeah.
She looks okay. Interesting colour scheme. If you were going for the wasted space yellow, you've not quite got it, but yeah.
No, I wasn't going for that, don't worry.
Perhaps you should have been. There you go, there's the right one for you.
God damn it. Hold on, Bob's building on it, by the looks of things.
Bob's got a plan. Yeah, there is a Bob up, so you are slowly building extra blocks onto the bottom of your ship.
I'm going to go over here then, to the wreck of the Partisan.
Sorry, I was busy building Turret of Win. I mean, that mostly works. I mean, it takes a bit of manual setup, but
Mostly works.
I approve of this. This feels like we're manually loading it. It's as a gunner, you need to, you know. I probably also don't have the right blueprints loaded in reality, but aside from that, okay. So if nothing else, this is something that I feel like we could put down relatively quickly. Not too much difficulty. I'm going to give it a little turret skirt. But yeah, we can whack down and build relatively quickly, and can potentially, next time we get one of those corrupt hive ships coming up, maybe cover our backs a bit. The only concern is the fact that there's no ability, it seems, to multi-launch like one after the other with the missiles, and I don't quite know why that is, but I remember encountering this problem with the launch blocks on this before. There's a stream a while back where I was doing something, I think I called it the Shavit. It was a sort of like an attempt to make a updated Jericho that launched, cluster.
Yeah, I remember that.
It launched like a cluster missile that was designed to split apart and then spread out and come into the target from different angles. And it kind of worked. I bet you I've got a blueprint of it. No, well, not under Shavit at least. Under cluster? Nope. But yeah, it unfortunately just didn't quite work like intended. One of these blueprints on this is the wrong way around as well. Even better. How have you just changed your settings for that? Or am I... Oh, I'm doing it with the wrong blooming projector, aren't I? Doll. There we go. This is the one I wanted to change. Idiot.
Yeah, I'm going to say, you know, with confidence that if you want to mine, this hover engine mod, perfect. Like, you know, I've tried building miners with wheels, and I'm sure you have in the past.
Yeah,
like,
they don't work well. I was so surprised at the start of the Uncooperative series where you actually got that one to work like kind of okay, and it was like, okay, fair enough. Like, there is the first wheeled miner I think I've seen that actually did something useful. Okay, well, I guess next up for me... Chat, what do you reckon? Here you go. I'll let chat decide here. Am I going to build... We've got two options. I can either build our Imperial probe droid cousin that is going to act as a patrolling defense drone for the Sky Donut when we return, and potentially even be a hover version for the moon as well.
Is it going to make the funky noise that the Imperial scout drones make as well? It better add them. That's it.
Or am I going to make Boris's cousin? Or am I going to make Ivanka? What do you reckon, chat? Are we going Ivanka or are we going probe droid? Hit me up. Stop trying to ram me with your potatoes. You have made potatoes just with hover engines. I hope you realise that. That's not a proud moment.
I don't care. It works.
I'm just saying it's not a proud moment, unfortunately. You've kind of semi-ruined it for yourself by the fact that
it's almost potatoes.
And you brought your own reference as well. It's not even like I encouraged it. You did it to yourself.
I mean, I hate to say this, but Morph kind of did get some aspects of potatoes right It sickens me to say that, and I'm sure you don't like hearing it, but...
Oh, hang on. Kenlon is the man with the know-how, apparently. You can launch individually if you lock individually. So that's how it works. Good info, sir. I like it. Bob, what are you trying to... Would you build the right thing, please? So, in theory, if I was to find myself a nice, fresh, empty bar, and I was to add lock, 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 and then launch again, I could launch them one at a time in some kind of beautiful dance. And I suppose we could put the camera on here too. Bob, are you going to build the back of this missile, or have you just completely given up? Come on now. I need it. It's got the thruster on it, dude. Build it. That is the right bit to go next and everything. Just build it. Just build the missile. Oh well. Oh well. Where's the partisan? Mart's also broken itself. That we have yet to find a decent solution for as to why Mart decides to go, ha ha ha, you have decided to rebuild yourself. Yes. That's not allowed.
Mart is questionable at times.
Right, that's the partisan up there. Invisible in the dark. However, 3 locks. And let's fire off center to check the guidance system. Missiles in upright position. In 3, 2, 1. 1, 2. 3. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at them go. And they're off. They're off. They're onto it. They're so keen. They're so keen for a bit of partisan blood. Missile number 1 coming in for the strike. I suppose it's not bad, given we've got the weakest tips on them. I'm a little bit unimpressed, but still. We're up against the heavy armor partisans, so maybe we can forgive it. And once again, Mart has broken itself. Despite the fact that none of the rotors or any of the other bits have actually changed, they're all still... It remembers one Gatling gun and none of the rest, for no reason. What is wrong with you, you stupid thing? Come on, just let me... That is really silly. Why? Why? I don't need to arm penetrator warheads, Mr. Altair. What I need to do is redesign the warheads to not be penetrators, but to be something better. But however, I did ask you guys whether we were going to go for Vanka, or whether we were going to go for the probe droid. And Vanka kind of won that fairly strong. Sim speed's not looking 100%. BTW. BT dubs. The old sim speed struggling a little.
Yeah, the sim speed has been struggling for the past few weeks.
Okay, so to answer the skivvy, just says, I can just imagine Lucas watching this and thinking, how will I get around those torpedoes? Very easily. 2 things. Firstly, These torpedoes are poorly defended, very easily shot out of the sky. Secondly, it's Lucas. He'll find some way of just disabling them or some shit like that, because he's a sneaky little git. And it's wonderful. Dumb spears! Hey, Wasted, when you build a Vanka, she should have a nuke on board to say, suck it to the drones. I suppose. She also needs to be capable of the crazy Ivan. Cheers, Tom. Okay, so are you happy with your mining?
I am happy with the miner. It's painted, it's blueprinted, it's projected.
Cool.
It's all good.
And so you got a miner. I've got myself a turret that mostly works. I need to really do that and really annoy. And I'm sure you're familiar with this. That's that annoying thing where you just spend like the next 2.5 hours bug testing to figure out why exactly it is that it's printing with like slightly the wrong groups, and remaking blueprints and realizing you don't have quite the one to remake them from and all that sort of rubbish. So I'm going to save that for something I can do off stream. I can go and develop this turret a bit further, but for now she fulfills the role of being built by a host Bob, but then being able to actually be quite effective. And I'd like to be able to make another one that's got like perhaps slightly more destructive warheads on, so that we can load that up when we've got the materials for it and do something a bit more. But I've got to fix out why Mart's doing what it is and so on. And thankfully Whiplash is someone that I can just poke on my friends list, so I can go, dude, it's doing this thing, help me. But I think we need a reload. We need to fix this.
Yeah,
this 0.47 sim speed. And I have a little video from Farrell, as always.
Oh.
Not a patch parody, but something for us this week. And the thing I think playing. This is all the awesome scenario where you get to play against someone, legitimately. Actively playing against Lucas in a game of war, basically. But
a game of war.
That's what it feels like.
A game of
Does
war.
it not feel like that? Have you not seen what he's been trying to do to us of late? Dude, it is a game of war now.
I wouldn't say it's a game so much, I'd just say it is war.
This means war!
Yeah.
Or does it mean war?
Falls under the category of football, warfare, and other group activities.
However, I think it's awesome, and I think we can keep an equal footing. And the only thing that he should maybe do is consider. I really think that the idea of adding modded blocks to the ships is a good idea, just on the basis that if you don't run the mod, it doesn't matter. I suppose it does give you a warning, doesn't it? That you don't have all the mods you need, so maybe that's a concern. But otherwise, it's like if you don't have the mod, then it's still fully functional. It's just if you've got shields, then they've got shields too. Suck it, fool.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you can put a Boolean value in there somewhere saying, if shield mod installed, then spawn X drone.
That's what you know what I mean. It's just like, would that not be the perfect comeuppance? It's just like for every mod you add, I get it too.
Yeah.
You know,
along with all my malicious fuckery.
along with all the other stuff I can come up with.
Yeah.
If you want to play with mods, if you want to go that way, then sure, we can play that game. Let's dance. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I will admit, and I think it's clear from my reactions, but last week was terrifying.
Oh, it was awesome. Last week was amazing.
Awesome,
it was all sorts of hell going down.
It was like every 15 to 30 seconds there was something else coming in to wreck our day.
The other thing I think I would add as a suggestion for Lucas, just thinking about it now, because what he's managing to do now is create a scenario that starts to touch on what EFM did as far as create a framework for space engineers where you can actually mess around and have fun, which is awesome. It's what we're all looking for. It's the bit that space engineers is missing. But maybe the answer for Lucas is to also have a bit more of the reward side of things too. And that's tricky because there's not so many easy ways of adding a reward to space engineers without that sort of tiered research system that EFM used, the rewards seem a bit limited, but maybe there's a way you can do something along those lines as well. To be like, okay, here's a target of opportunity that we really want to take, but in doing so, it's also dangerous. It's also scary.
Well, he does have those waifu drone things that show up that you basically play Russian roulette with.
That's a prime example. And I'm just thinking that maybe there's something that's a little bit more like
that.
No, I don't know. Is there a possibility of perhaps having the occasional opportunity of like a convoy spawning in? Something where there is a mostly unarmed but very, very well resource-filled ship that you just want to have, but it comes with 2 fuckheads. And so you've got to deal with the full convoy. And if you can deal with the 2 fuckheads, then the actual ship itself is relatively easy to capture, but it comes with 2 things that you've really got to deal with quite carefully. I don't know, just throwing out ideas here, but that's sort of thinking back to the old days of TIE Fighter and X-Wing Alliance and so on, and what sort of missions you had in that were quite cool. And yeah, guys, I've updated the mod collection today, but it is down in the video description below. Please go and check that out because it includes so much cool work from guys in the community. Lucas in particular, because a lot of what we're enjoying here is driven by what he is doing. However, there's just so much cool stuff. Is that all ejectors on the bottom of you there?
That's all ejectors.
Holy hell. Well then, it's poopy potatoes.
Major improvement already. This is kind of why, though, all those gyroscopes are necessary, just so it can like tilt upwards and stick itself face first into the ground, and then do the same when it's full of stuff. So there is some method to my madness this week.
It's a shame there's not some sort of decent blocking Space Engineers that is just capable of destroying stuff rather than pooping it out. Because in reality, it's not like. No, I know there's a mod that can do it, but I'm just saying, like in reality, Space Engineers is not good at handling shitloads of objects like this. It's not good at handling this waste. It'd be great if you could just funnel it through something that could keep up with it through like standard RP in-game means, rather than just being like, yeah, we've just got the server settings to delete it. You know?
There's no way we can employ it as a weapon against our foes. Maybe like load up a cargo container and fling it at them, and then it blows up.
Do you have any idea how difficult that is to hit? Even with like some massive scatter cannon version, it is so difficult to hit. We could weaponize it, but dude, this is gonna hurt us as much as it hurts the fucking enemy. It so is.
I mean, I was gonna say, make a torpedo, but put a small cargo container in it and just load it up with tons and tons of stone and fire it at someone we don't like.
just not gonna hit them. That's the problem.
Well, you might not hit them, but if they're slow moving, you might just hit them and then it'll pop.
Yeah, that's an interesting point from Farrell there. You might. Have you got a line to gravity turned on your hover engines?
Nope.
Okay, it's already off. There we go.
Actually, I might be on, but it doesn't really matter because the gyros are counteracting.
Yeah, all I'm saying is if you turn it off, it might actually give you a slightly more controlled ride to allow you to tip yourself.
It's pretty controlled as it is.
You see, he's just... Nah, his resistance change. He's an old man before his time, Mr. Wedge.
I am an old man. I've been saying this week to some friends that it feels like I've already hit the grumpy stage of the 40s. Even though I'm only halfway there, so...
Yeah, I can believe that. You are a bit grumpy. The back does look a bit like a Corellian Corvette. You're right, Andromeda.
I was kind
of...
It's
an Android Armada, not Andromeda. Wow, that's a butchering of a name.
So
Sorry.
how deep down are we now, out of interest? How deep down are we?
I have no idea. How do you want me to be able to figure that out? We are X deep.
Okay. Well, let's see how good we are at driving out up this tunnel here.
Hang on.
Oh, you can't stand on it because there's something weird with the hover engines. If you stand on it, you'll tilt the entire thing. You see what I mean?
Well then, I'm standing on it. You can't tell me that and expect me to then not stand on it. Come on
God
now.
damn it.
That's not how it works. For fuck's sake. Not bad, Wedgie. As far as drives from you is concerned, that was a lot more control. Alright, I'll get off now. I'm sorry. I'm sure you could get out that hole normally without me. But yeah, I'm okay. Fair play, fair play. I like our new miner. It's a lot better than your last miner that disappeared off into space at 1 billion miles an hour.
Well, what I'm going to say is the fact that we've actually had time to play around in creative and test what works is probably a big help.
Creative? No.
Oh, our VR suite.
Let's be clear. We're in our VR suite. We are in the Holo suite. We are simulating our current world, and
so we are. Forgive me for forgetting.
Doing some prototypes. Yeah, well, damn right.
Yes. Sorry about that.
My immersion, Wedgie. My immersion.
For a minute there, I thought you were going to do that thing, you know, where the engineer kind of hovers there, and his hands and his feet just wiggle around.
Right, I need to build a Boris. A Boris 2 and an Ivanka. Boris's sexy sister.
Boris's sexy sister.
Yeah, think Romanov.
Okay. I do have a semi-sexy fighter in the works, but it isn't done if you'd like to see it.
Come on. I remembered about a fighter I completely forgot about because I've got so many builds that I've done that I've half-started.
Oh, it's a bit heavy.
Wedgie, it's also like randomly attacking shit nearby, but aside from that, yeah, that looks like a Wedgie ship. To be fair, have I not seen this before? This has some lines that are very familiar, dude.
There was an earlier version of this for a certain episode of Engineer Wars, and then it was reworked.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. There's some lines here that look very familiar, especially above. It is also just, though, going ham randomly on stuff. So do you mind? I don't want to remove it for you. I want to be kind, but yeah, it is just randomly attacking stuff nearby. Okay, so the one I had, which I'd forgot about, was the Shakram here. Which actually, if I remember, no, it won't fly in this atmosphere. I forgot. Yeah, it's an little atmospheric fighter that's designed to be launched from a like atmospheric capable, but not gravity capable so much mothership, where it launches these things downwards, and then they have the capable thrust with the. If you look, there's a single rear hydrogen thruster. And the idea is that they can get their way back up to the mothership and dock back up again into a sort of grinder bay where they get torn apart and put back into service. I've also got I've got the cheekiest rocket launcher placement I think that has ever existed that still doesn't actually blow up the front of the hull. Look at that bullshit.
That is kind of...
Look at it from the top.
Yeah, that is a bit bullshit.
It's total arse. That should not work, but yes, that is apparently acceptable. But not only these ones are capable of landing like flat.
I noticed the sneaky landing thing. Hold on a minute, I just need to do something real quick.
Nice and low profile. So. Let's not fuck around with Ivanka. Let's give her a backbone of batteries, and then get onto the shield generators, because I think these are areas I've fucked up on Boris. Basically,
shield gen.
Bit too weak. Yeah, they were added in as an afterthought because when Boris was built, we didn't have the shield gens on the server at all. So yeah, it's a bit lacking on them, and they're all on the outside, and yeah, it does not seem like a good way of going about it.
So I remember you saying last week that for new Boris, you were going to go for like a central core of batteries.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm thinking here. It's a central core of batteries and shields, basically.
Is this going to be a collaborative or just you?
No, if you want to help out, by all means, man.
Okay.
I am down for whatever.
Oh, so it's like a sandwich of batteries and shields.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, because I know from experience that those batteries take a fair bit of power to charge. So if we're also going to ion thruster this, because that's what I want to do, I don't want to end up leaning on hydrogen again for this particular one, then it's going to take a fair bit. Now, the only thing I can sort of put forward as far as my design mentality is concerned is... how to describe this?
You want it to look brutalist and Soviet.
Sort of. Right, let me place down like a really sort of scratch frame quickly, just to demonstrate one particular point I was thinking of that was going to represent this design. Because I'm thinking I want to try and fit it into Tex's cargo base, hangar bay, which means it kind of needs to be quite thick, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It needs to be quite chunky. So I'm thinking of sort of trying to build that into the design as kind of a very, very sort of chunky design. Almost like it's a VTOL vessel. So if you imagine sort of that coming back like that, what I'm trying to draw in here is like a couple of... What I'm imagining is like symmetrical thruster bays that represent the front and rear thrusters that make, like, you combine think sort of semi-winged look still.
I'm looking at this already and I'm seeing these sorts of zones here, and if it's going to be Russian, we should go full heavy weapons guy and have well, something like this.
Well, those zones were for thrusters, was what I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
And then you because one of the things I want to do is make sure that, like, functionality wise, in fact, that's one block too low as well.
Excuse me again a second, I'm having a kind of a crazy time on my end.
So yeah, I'm thinking functionality wise, what we do is basically gun towards some very central frontal armament. But she's quite a thick ship, so almost the cockpit goes on top of that. So it's a chunky vessel, thickness wise. But
so central front armament, so basically look at what you want to die and it dies.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it sort of, if you imagine, rather than your natural inclination, which is like with the rapier, for example, where it's sort of big in one dimension only, if you know what I mean. It's sort of boxy in this central section, with the exception of, outside of that sort of central section, if you were to mirror it to the other side, you sort of build up here and you have some very stubby wings that are designed to hold rockets.
And a bit like the Pelican. Stubby wings.
A little bit Pelican designed, yeah, actually. Just lose a lot of its, like, carrier focus and make it just purely combat. But think that sort of same idea, where it's actually quite chunky in the vertical aspect as well. Because what we're trying to build it into is a 6x4. It's the, if you imagine, standard airtight hangar door entrance, basically, that's 6 wide. That's what we've got to deal with, because that's the hangar bay on Tex's ship, and it'd be very nice for it to fit into that. So that's 7 wide, so if we were to put that there, and that's right. And airtight hangar door, where you hide. Oh no, one too small even. Right, there you go. That's the hangar door we're trying to fit it in. So you can imagine that we've got like actually a decent level of vertical space for the amount of horizontal space we've got. If it doesn't fit, if it ends up being a bit too wide, that's not a big deal.
Well, this is the hollow suite, so it can trim bits off.
Well, not only that, but I suspect that even if it doesn't fit inside Tex's ship, it'd be decent. But I like that whole aesthetic of making it quite chunky. Now, what I put underneath there actually was a pretty bad example. I would have those wider apart, if you know what I mean.
These engine cowling areas.
Yeah, the engine cowling areas, if you imagine those sort of framing the cockpit, and instead of being on top, you imagine those down the sides as like sort of angled at that 45-degree, two little engine pods that run the length of the vessel, either side of the main sort of central cockpit area. Yeah, that sort of idea, And those kind, it's a little bit too far in, but those kind of represent like the bulkiest portion of the ship, and everything is a bit more narrow from there outwards. I like that idea. That's sort of quite chunky. I mean, ignore the cockpit. The cockpit will just slap down, but yeah, you'll probably sink the cockpit in by one block, probably into that framework that's currently down there. So I'd probably try and get the cockpit in at like that height, basically. Where's my cockpit on my bar? I've deleted the battery by mistake. Maybe one higher than that.
Is Boris going to be space only? Kind of.
Yes. Yeah. This time round, I'm designing for space and moon only. But the previous Boris was designed to be able to go down in actual atmosphere. Well, this one's going to avoid it.
Boris was originally a carrier, wasn't it?
Boris was originally all sorts of stuff. Boris evolved so many times.
Boris was a jack of all trades, but master of none.
BSG Raptor is actually not a bad description, John McCarry. Let me go and let me tab out and quickly look up an example of that, because I think you're about right with the BSG Raptors. They had that nice chunky. They were nice and thick, if you know what I mean, and to some extent, not quite.
I'm looking at it. I'm thinking
but
Liberator from
along
Planetside.
those sort of Liberator from Planetside is perhaps a bit more right. Let's have a look. Liberator, Planetside. Oh, Google, you are often so very friendly with what I need to find, and then occasionally so very goddamn stupid. No, I'm Liberator's too tall and not wide enough. I'm thinking maintain the thickness most of the way through, and then some really little stubby wings on the side. There is something that exists that looks like I'm talking about in sci-fi, but I'm so struggling to think of the right thing. X-32 fighter. Let's have a look at that one.
What was the name? You're gonna hate me for saying this, but
a bit.
This is gonna be an upscaled Henry by the sounds of things.
Fuck off.
But an actual competent
Not acceptable.
ship.
Not acceptable.
Not acceptable.
Not acceptable. Not okay.
If you want to go for the funky look, what I will say is,
what is it?
Stick a laser antenna on the front, like underneath the chin of it. That could probably fit with the style.
It's almost like a stealth fighter, but the other way up.
Right.
Bit like an X-302 from Stargate, yes. Latty from Clone Wars, so many cool ideas from chat.
Well, I'm having ideas already.
Bit like the Latty, but again, it's just thick the whole way through. I feel like actually it's from Star Citizen is what I'm thinking.
Star Citizen.
Yeah, it is a bit. I'm thinking something a bit like the Hornet from Star Citizen, to be honest. So again, the bays need to be a bit wider. The other comparison would be something from maybe Command and Conquer. Hard to say. Hard to say. There is an idea there somewhere. What we're making today, as usual, is a mess. If like actually step back and look at like the area we've been in, it's just like, and this is after reloading a few times. It's just like, random stuff everywhere.
Carnage.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I've got a rocket launcher up here that can't move, but if it could, I could shoot what Wedgie's working on, but it can't. So there we go.
Yeah,
it is time for me to take a quick be right back, empty the proverbials, and also fetch myself a fresh drink while Wedgie, by the looks of things, decides that he's going to work on the cockpit. Do you not find those cockpits quite difficult on the basis that you like that shape is? I don't know. It's just hard to finish unless it's like a bit stuck back in the ship. If it's anywhere near the front, you will just always end up with the same front end. It just always looks the same, and you just look at it as, yeah, it's one of those again.
Hold on a minute. Let me bring something in, because I want to kind of take the front end from that. Where is it?
Star Fury from Babylon 5 already sounds about right, actually. No, not the Star Fury, but I think it is Babylon 5 base that I'm thinking of. Don't know. Anyway, Farrell time. I promised it earlier. It is time now. I'm taking a save, Mr. Wedge, just so you know.
Okay.
If you fuck anything up while I'm doing this,
I have just fucked something
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Unfortunately, that happened as I was saving rather than... Well, if nothing else, people would pay good money for that sort of timing.
Well, maybe I've got...
You've got hidden depths, Wedgie, you never realised.
hidden comedic talent.
Yeah, it's there. Wedgie is the slapstick master, he just never realised. Right. Mr. Farrell. I see you. Oop, that's not Mr. Farrell, that's me. This one's Mr. Farrell.
You come around late at night, looking for some arms to hug and hold you tight. Well, I've got two of those, strong as they can be. Still don't expect no more than good, clean fun you see. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. What you get is what you see in plain view. You want honest, here it is, sad but true. It's not love, but it's the best I can do. On such short notice. short notice.
And that's probably a great opportunity to give a little shout out to... this is a little bit weird because I pay for this service, but hey, Epidemic Sound provide like quality music for a relatively small amount. And if you're someone that's starting out on YouTube, that is, to be honest, something that's quite hard to find. It is a subscription per month. And I'm not saying this as a sponsored person. I pay for my subscription. I pay more than I probably should, to be honest, because I pay for the slightly higher viewer package than I'm getting at the moment. But anyway, it's cheap and the quality of the music that they offer is pretty epic. So yeah, if you're interested in where any of the music comes from, you should be able to see most of it up in the top left-hand corner of the stream. But otherwise, Epidemic Sound. Good shizzle. They will help you out, as much as I don't like to promote people using their music now, because goddamn everybody is using it. It's fine, it means I'm a trendsetter. That's what it is. When you start hearing it on, like, I watch a lot of tech YouTubers, right? And yeah, so you've got Jay's 2 Cents and Paul's Hardware and Bitwit and Linus and all that lot. And aside from Linus, the rest of them just all use Epidemic now, and you just like, hang on a second, that's my track, you gits. That's mine. Oh, you can't. God damn it. Right, I feel like we should flank the sides of this with cargo containers, potentially the central section.
You reckon?
At least some. Yeah, because we're going to need to have some place to put Bob and co.
Okay. I'm chopping some bits off because I've got the idea for the
good
engine cowlings, so I'm going to
go for it. I'm going to run some cargo on the basis that... are you thinking much longer than we're sitting?
What, on the nose?
No, on the whole vessel. I mean,
I don't know.
I'm thinking beyond where we currently sit, maybe long enough to add the thrusters on the back, but not much more than that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking keep it quite snub in general. Mike's crackling a little. That's no good. There's a little bit of pre-greebling going on from Mr. Wedge here, yes. Also known as the art of greebling the ship before actually much of the ship is even built yet. So that it's greebling that you basically have to go and undo later, or accept that it's already been done and know that the ship is slightly crippled for it forever on.
Greebling's worth it, if you ask me.
This is pre-greebling. Pre-greebling. Utopian Gaming, thank you very much, sir. $5. Love your videos. Well, that's good comment. Don't forget O2. I would never forget O2. I'm not the sort of person to forget O2. Come on now. Me, of all people. All right. So maybe what I'll do while you're doing this is work on making sure that we've got a functional cargo system. How about that?
Yeah, you do like the piping, and I'll do the body.
This sounds amazing. Wow. How about we extend this beyond that and go, you do the body and I'll do the other bits? Because knowing you, that alone is going to be basically forever. So
probably, yeah.
Wedgie's greebling, ladies and gentlemen. Back away from the scene. Nothing to see here. That's right, I turned mirroring on. Leave me alone.
I turned it on as well.
I know, we're both using mirroring. It's like almost like
it's like
we played this game
know
before.
What we're doing.
We've played it before, Wedge. You know that. I've played Space Engineers before today.
I've only got about 2,000 hours in it. A little bit.
A bit. How many hours do I have? I have 2,856.
So, we kind of know our arse from our elbows now.
It wasn't really the point I was making, but I was being fairly facetious. But hey, 2,800 hours, and I did this at one because I'm also someone who's played. I played World of Warcraft since it was launched, basically. In fact, since before it was launched, because I played it on beta. And, ironically, at the time, hated the entire concept of it because I was a Warcraft 3 player, and the idea of making what I enjoyed as Warcraft 3 into like an RPG was pretty heinous as things went. But I got given a beta key, and I was like, all right, fine. And then at that point, I've played it for the last, as I said, like 14 years. It's a ridiculous volume of time. But I eventually did the calculations to figure out, like, okay, it's a ridiculous volume of time, but like, how ridiculous in comparison to, say, Space Engineers? And you'll be surprised how fast those 2,800 hours add up, apparently. That was a long story to make that point, but whatever.
It was kind of a long story, yeah. Did you even make the point in the end?
I sort of.
Sort of.
People will be catching me in Space Engineers because if you hadn't noticed from the channel content, I don't play so much Space Engineers anymore. Why? Because I've played 2,800 hours of Space Engineers. That's fucking why. Pretty straightforward. At that point, when a lot of the time all they're doing is meaning that when you go back and go, oh, this used to work. Oh, okay, I see. So that's different now. Good. Okay then. Mostly what draws you back is when some really clever modder comes out with something new and exciting. You know, the wings or EFM.
Oh,
Holy
shit.
hell, EFM. What are you doing, Wedgie? You just...
I was putting a mayfly on the nose. It was basically like one of those nose cannons you see on attack helicopters, but it wasn't happy, and it didn't make friends with the neighbours.
You've still gotta, even at this point, tip your hat so heavily to Dark Roll for what he did with EFM. That's just so good. So much the best thing that Space Engineers has had as far as like an actual scenario that was worth paying attention to is concerned. It's ridiculously cool, and it's a bit of a shame that the only time we've ever seen something like that has been EFM. I mean, I obviously I understand it's an insane level of work to put in to produce something like that. So it's not like I'm saying, oh my god, it's stupid that more people haven't charged out and made this. Why are people so lazy? No, not at all. What I'm saying is it's a bit of a shame that the best single player experience or multiplayer experience we've had in Space Engineers came from just this one-off mod, one person's work. One person's effort. He might have included the odd shit, but it was all his idea. Just crazy cool. Alright, what else can I fit into a small format like this? There's got to be something else I can fit into that same spacing that passes through cargo. What am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting something that should fit here.
Are you forgetting an oxygen tank?
No, I'm not bothered about tank. I'm planning generation, but not tank.
Well, are you missing an oxygen generator?
Yeah, that's it. I'm planning that. That's not what I'm
You're
intending
planning
here.
that. Okay. Okay.
It's got a spot. It's just not going here. I'm looking at a space that could fit a cargo container, but I'd rather use pass-through blocks. But I'm trying to think of what else could be actually useful in this. Yeah, chat, as far as everyone's concerned, I keep calling it EFM and keep forgetting. A very cool fella called Duckroll made a scenario called Escape from Mars. If you type it into your Steam search, then you might find it as maybe the 20 or 25th result, because Steam search is the worst thing under the sun.
To be honest,
but it is there.
Steam itself seems to be the worst thing under the sun, almost.
Still, the point was, don't expect Steam to be particularly cooperative in your finding of Escape from Mars, but it is there, I promise. And if you do find Escape from Mars, you will be rewarded with, without a shadow of a doubt, the most fun single player experience that currently exists in Space Engineers. It's funny, it's clever, it's got a great story, it's got some moments that you'll be like, what the fuck? You know,
That's true.
It is very, very well done. And you also, at the end of it, feel like you've actually completed the story. So, yeah.
I'd like to suggest something for the wings as weapons go.
Well,
How about
I would
one
like...
of these on each side?
No, remove. No. That's a gun like that with that noise. Have you heard it, dude?
I heard a bit of it. It sounded a bit scary.
Dude, no. That there. That's like an A10 gun, right? That's your front-mounted Warthog. Like, that's what it sounds like, at least. I was going to put it. I mean, admittedly, it would to some extent spoil the front end you've got. It doesn't really fit there.
Well, you could just have.
But maybe instead,
that style of Gatling gun.
No. What I'm thinking is maybe instead we build a tail to this croft that fits it.
Okay.
And we do, and we channel the Liberator idea that you said earlier on.
Well,
where we've got a thinner tail and then that turret on the back end.
We do have these, which are like smaller versions of it, and they're pretty savage.
No, that's the one I want. You've already convinced me. I'm just saying. Let's.
There are There are other alternatives. Have a look at this one as well. It's kind of coming down on your head.
There. Fuck's sake! No.
You want that one?
You've convinced me with that one. The noise it was making was just so much. I am so ashamed because I know the name of the gun that's on the Warthog. I know the proper name of the gun that's on the Warthog. But as is always the case whenever stuff like this comes up in general conversation, I then cannot remember it. The GAW-8, thank you. I know it. God damn it. It's so frustrating.
And
like,
Anorak of the Year goes to...
That's what I'm saying. It's just like wasted. Here's your opportunity to add a certain credibility to what you're talking about. Are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? No, you're going to fucking forget what the name of the weapon is, even though you're just intrinsically familiar with it. Frustrating.
I'm not liking these thrusters on the front, to be honest.
I don't think they're wide enough apart. I was kind of picturing something a little wider than that. As I said, like they flanked the cockpit a bit further, like they were almost a mixture of pods on the wings that sculpt into the hull, if you know what I mean. But maintaining that idea of thickness. It might be better with the smaller ones. We do have the angled thrusters now, so you might be able to do something fun with those that looks a bit more decent. Disruption. Are you going to stream any starters? Maybe when they stop making me cry every time I load the game up and go, oh my word, once upon a time I felt like my PC was good. But now I'm playing this game, I'm just getting frustrated at the fact that my problem with starters is basically that I'm getting more and more frustrated with how their business model is working, in that I don't necessarily feel like they have a business model, and that they obviously did way better than they ever expected, and that's fine. But when it gets to the point where you're redesigning the same ship for the 4th or 5th time, you're starting to move into the territory of just wasting resources. And in this case, those resources are our money. I haven't spent that much on Starsism, but some of that money is mine. Some of that money is other people's. And the huge amount of cash they've got, it just... For as much as they'd like to say that they don't advertise themselves, they've never had a marketing budget. Citizen Con is a marketing budget. Running the billion shows that they have that air, it seems, sort of every single day of a week is a marketing budget. And all of this stuff is just eking away at the hope of the game that we all dreamed of. And unfortunately, I'm starting to lose my faith in the idea that they're actually going to be able to achieve this, because there's too many times they are defaulting on promised deadlines, and not by a little bit, but like, what was it? Star Citizen 3.0 is currently on the PTR testing. It was supposed to release a year and a half ago, almost. Little bit less than that. It was supposed to release before Christmas last year. Oh no, the year before last now, technically. But yeah. And when it does come out, it's on the PTR only, and I can't help but look at that and go, well done, RSI. You have made a very good business decision there. Because by sticking it on the PTR only, that means that people have to buy a subscription in order to be able to access that content that they've been drooling for the last year and 2 months. Now they need to go and subscribe to your game, because by subscribing to your game, they get access to the PTR. And so then they can go and try this stuff out. And it's just been sitting there on the PTR ever since. I don't see much in the way of progress being made. I've been on the PTR, it's laggy as all fuck, it's almost worse than it was before. But there are planets and stuff you can land on, so that's cool. But it frustrates me that they escape the scrutiny that so many other companies have to face head on. Because they are doing stuff that, you know, it blows my mind that Jim Sterling hasn't done a Jimquisition on Star Citizen, for example. And I don't think he has, from what I remember. He's mentioned RSI/SIG a few times, but I don't think he's done a Jimquisition on it. It blows my mind. Like, if you actually analyze it from the same criteria that the rest of the gaming world is put through and is metered by, they are next level abusive. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm still there and I'm still supporting them and I'm still a subscriber and I still bought ships and so on, because everyone has this dream of the fact that actually Star Citizen is something we all want.
Well, it's
we
just
do
like this
want it.
endless proof of concept.
Oh, it's actually it's live now. Okay, so it's hit live after a number of months. Okay, I'm sorry, messed that up. Wow, the music's a bit loud. Turn you down.
Don't know about you, but I put some big guns on the front. I don't
Guns!
know if they're too big.
Wedgie put guns on the front. No, I approve of those. Those look very, very Gao style.
You could put some Mark 1 batteries.
What noise do they make? Fire them?
They make loud noises.
Fire them?
Hang on a minute. I will fire them. Where are they?
LOL, they are bugged as all hell. Roger! They just spun around and shot itself.
Oh god.
Oh, damn right. Damn right, Declan. I am 100% a fan of our local boggling boy, Mr. Stardust himself.
Oh, wow. Never mind.
Yeah, they are. That's quite broken.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, Wedgie, but nah.
It was quite bad. Okay, let's try a bulldog. They're a bit smaller, but possibly less buggered than they are. Okay, let's...
I can't believe that. That's beautiful. Exterminate. Well, they're doing it as well. What on earth is up with this mod? Oh god, I got smashed by them. They're actually existing physics objects. You can get knocked around by the spinning guns, but they stop when you stop firing. How is that possible? I think wonderful. The barrels are supposed to spin, and it's changed the axis the barrel is spinning on.
Oh, it's wonderful.
You know what I mean? So it was supposed to spin on like the axis that mean that the barrel would just rotate and look cool, but instead it's changed it. Beautiful. Isn't this music from Domina? Damn right it is, as it says in the top left-hand corner. Made by a certain man called Big Nick, who makes some amazing music and some great games. BigNick.bandcamp.com, no less. Go check him out. Bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
Yes.
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp, good. decent site, and
lots of good people on Bandcamp.
Big Nick makes his music available for nice and cheap, and he makes some really, really good music. And also Domino is a really, really good game. I really should have done a early access report video on that. I can't believe I streamed it that much and then didn't make a video on it, to be honest. That's a bit stupid, but hey.
We forgive
Proper unique. I'm liking it, Wedge, though. It's got a different look so far. Let me go and continue what I should be doing, which is helping to actually buff up functionality-wise. So, gun-wise, you've got our frontal...
Well, I don't know what we're doing now after the...
The Mark 1 batteries are just reliable strong. So, unless you can find me a decent reason to avoid those, that's what I would advise, to be honest.
Well, apparently Mark 1 batteries don't fit on...
They do.
Do they? Oh, Mark 1. Okay, let's... Oh, these...
Try it again.
Oh, okay, I see.
They're pretty small, so it's up to you how you want to fit them in, but they do look kind of cool.
Do you want to mark them, or is that just death?
No, that is kind of death, I think, for the front of this. I would rather rely on the idea of having like a nice frontal battery of those cannons, because they are hard enough to actually combat large ships, and then a couple of torpedoes on the wings. And if we keep the wings nice and stubby, then we've got a relatively small profile ship that's got like similar firepower to Boris, but looks better, and hopefully will perform better at the end of it, because it's got a lot more shields, more capable of actually darting in there, doing some damage, and then getting back out again, you know?
Okay, then.
Yeah, Declan, you can just delete stuff with the Mark 1 batteries. It's amazing. I've had a lot of fun with those on Boris. I just wanted to make a ship that was, well, just considerably more streamlined and more to purpose for that sort of task, because Boris had been redesigned so many times by that point that it sort of became a bit ridiculous. He was no longer really that functional in what you would expect him to be. He was just like this amalgam that had a lot of guns and so on. So we love him, and he will kick around, and I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the line he comes back to save our ass one more time, just on the basis that he's the ship that's left in the hangar bay. It is like, oh, but it's alright, we've got Boris. The last flight. Alright, I'm going to tuck some gyros in while we've got the opportunity. Get those in the top. Right, we're going to want some reactors to restart the vessel as well if it ever shuts down.
So that's your starter motor and nuclear
reactor.
reactor.
It's just your nuke reactor is your starter motor. I quite like that as a general concept. Why not?
That was one of the bullshit lines from the old Robot Wars games. The house robots all had thermonuclear starter motors.
Really? That's terrible.
They actually got Jonathan Pierce to say that, but by his standards that isn't so bad, because recently he's been saying some robots are equipped with lithium polymer armament.
Lithium polymer armament? What you mean, batteries?
Lithium polymer armament, yes.
He means batteries, yes.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I probably wouldn't
Jesus.
use lipos as armour, knowing what they tend to do when they're
No, armament and armour is not the same thing, Mr. Wedge.
Oh, that is correct, isn't it? I'm pulling a Jonathan Pierce myself.
You are.
Well,
Armament is weaponry, goddammit.
In any case, I'm not going to smack anyone with a lipo. I mean, I might smack them with it and then, stick it in their coat pocket as it starts smouldering, but I don't know.
Now, lipos are funny fuckers. I mean, they have a bad rep that is perhaps not deserved, because, to be honest, I have what is essentially a small bomb in the other room, and it so far has not touch wood with both hands. So far has not caused me any problems, but it's one of those sort of often repeated cases where, like, you'll find lots of scenarios where people have done like bad things to themselves or their house or their property or their friends with lipos, and almost exclusively those occasions consist of when people have been complete morons and done something that is just like, well, yeah, if you'd actually paid some like modicum of attention, this would never have had it happened, would it? It only happened because you're an idiot. Congratulations. Now what? Okay, I'm running out of things to add to this. We've got oxygen generation, we've got gyros, we've got nuclear reactors to start, we've got a spine of batteries and shields. I don't want to add an antenna because that makes us vulnerable to the hacking drones, and they are hatred.
Well, you could just have we
got a beacon. We can whack on. Yeah, but you say a hot switch to turn it off. We're not going to turn it off. That's the thing. We'll just leave it on, and then when we do turn it off, will be when we've already been hacked. So I'm inclined to just, for some of these ships, the more important ones, the ones that really are well armed. Don't give them antennas, just give them beacons. You can't hack via a beacon, it doesn't give you communication options. But it does still tell you where the ship is, which is what you're after. So, yeah. Now, one thing I was thinking of earlier was trying to make some method of chaff delivery.
Chaff delivery? So, what, are we talking decoys?
Yeah. Being able to spit out decoys. Now, we can't build rotor heads.
Well, I was going to say...
Which is always a bit of a pain in the arse.
Can we do, like, merge blocks on the back or something that...
That's the sort of thing I'm thinking of, is merge blocks on the back that get dropped off as we fly. But I need to try and see if I can set them up in such a way... The annoyance of that is the merge block's very large versus the size of a decoy. You know, a decoy is a single block, and a merge block's like fucking 6 by 1 by 1. So it not even 6 by 1 by 1, is it? It's 3 by 3 by 1. Sorry, but yeah, it's just like much larger. So is there some way you can use that merge block more effectively? I'd like the idea that they shoot the merge blocks first and in doing so split the decoys off. But I'm not sure you can really rely on that. Like if you were to put a merge block on the back and then build the decoys on in such a way where they weren't like properly touching, if you know what I mean, then you could technically do it so that once the merge block was destroyed, then what decoys you had on it would then spread out and do their thing. However, I just can't see them targeting the merge block first. They're going to go for the decoys, and unless you can reliably make sure that that merge block is facing the target, then surely it's just going to end up blowing the whole fucking lot up. I don't know. Maybe we can try. It's probably still better than nothing, and I don't think merge blocks are particularly expensive, so... What about decoys? I haven't checked out the Alright, radio communication parts for decoys, so decoys have been made a lot more expensive. Decoy payload on the rockets could work, but I don't think you want to draw fire towards the rockets in reality.
No.
I think the ideal would be to have fire somewhere other than the rockets. Alright, so what's the most efficient? Can we fit any more than... We can probably fit 5 on here if I do this right, so yeah. Maximum of 5, and technically if that merge block gets destroyed, then all 5 get released individually. So as the merge block dies, they all ping off in different directions. We have a 1x1 merge block, do we? We do have a 1x1 merge block. It's from the Torpedo mod. Torpedo mod, I'm pretty sure, is essentially the pylon, the strut from the Torpedo mod is essentially a 1x1 merge block. So, good point. good point. It's the strut components. Even the strut components are pretty heavy, though. They've got large steel tubes in them. Yeah, I wonder. I suspect merge blocks might even be cheaper than torpedo hardpoints. Yeah, merge blocks are cheaper than torpedo hardpoints. They might be larger, but they're cheaper. I want chaff. I want chaff somehow, Wedge. How am I going to achieve chaff?
How are you going to achieve chaff?
I like the idea of a merge block that's turned off, but that doesn't distract things on its own, so...
Let me have a think. I mean, let's see what we've got that we can use. We have...
What's the hard point like?
Is there
That's
any
a good
way?
point. The CC interface. No, the CC interface uses the same parts. So the small ship CC interface is more expensive than the merge block we drop. It's smaller, but it's more expensive.
We can use a welder to produce a standard block or something, but have that block painted the bob grind colour, and then turn the welder off once it's done.
Yes. In fact, what you've just described is something that I've built many, many times, but never had the luxury of Bob to release it. Normally, I've had to create some ridiculous grinder rotor contraption in order to split it from the standard grid so the grinder will actually grind. And then, so with Bob's help here, can we build it with the default color? Yes, with the blueprint set correctly, I believe it should be colored when it's... So yeah, I think we can do that. Let's try that. I'm really intrigued now. Does Bob offer us exceptional new grinding opportunities? Perhaps he does, perhaps he does not. The welder is going to need to be fed with large parts, so this does limit our positioning a little. They're going to have to be straight off the rear.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
What if we had, instead of welders, what if we had two bobs and he switched one off?
I don't need welders. I don't need welders at all. You're right. We just no. You don't even need any. No, it doesn't even need to be that complex. This is ridiculously cool for projector scenarios. It's literally just the blueprint needs to contain a green block, and then it'll build it, and then it'll destroy it. That is the only scenario.
Like a timer block.
And the only thing I might need to concern myself about is the fact that if it doesn't build the entire thing before it's ground thing, so you just set the bob to weld before grind. So it welds the whole thing and then it grinds the whole thing. Right, this is stupidly easy. Sure, we're going to drop shit out the back. What sort of shit would we like to drop? Any thoughts?
Cargo containers carrying rock.
Cargo containers carrying... No, we could, but that is an expensive and convoluted way of doing things. We could drop far more interesting stuff that's not required for that.
Okay. Well, what do you have in mind?
Well, chaff was what we were after.
Well, yeah, chaff, but there isn't, like,
decoys,
chaff, so to speak. Okay, well, decoys, yes, but...
Decoys don't need power.
They're expensive, though, that's the thing.
Not that expensive. Look at them. Girder, 2 small steel tubes, a radio communication component, a computer, a construction component, and a steel plate.
Okay, then.
Like the RC component is the only sort of vaguely notable part, and even then, it's not that expensive.
All right. Well, if you think it's
however,
doable, then...
chat are pointing out that actually turrets do find cameras pretty tasty. And right, should we do a little test? Are cameras tasty if they're not powered? Mr. Wedge, I require your aid.
Okay.
Let us take a save. A save has been taken. Let us move on out. Follow me. To space and beyond. No, decoys do not need power. That is the wonderful benefit of decoys, and that is what I now need to check about cameras, is whether or not they also require power.
Oh, that's cool. I can lock onto you in spectator mode.
Yes. You can lock onto anything. Anything. I am just attempting to escape both gravity and also Wedge. No. And also any sort of potential turret interference from where we were. This gon' be good. Alright, Jacob. I feel you. Weaponizing gyros is not something I've ever really done, but I really should. Because we all know the force that gyros have within them. Somewhere there. Yeah, Meltdown and Spectre. Those are interesting things. I mean, let's be clear. We talked about it in the start of the stream. They're not going to affect your average individual because the amount of work necessary to really utilize those particular... what's the word? It's not bugs, it's exploits? It's not really exploits even. It's kind of... it's weaknesses, almost. Vulnerabilities. There we go.
That'll do.
That's the word I was looking for. It takes too much effort to exploit them for it ever to be something that's going to affect a general consumer. However, it doesn't change the fact that it needs to be fixed, and therefore it is going to have a bit of a performance impact for everybody. Spectre affects everybody as a whole, like Android, Apple, Intel, doesn't matter what you're running on. Spectre is a thing for absolutely everybody because it's a flaw in how the operating systems that we use work and how they actually manage memory that allows... how they manage memory and how they manage memory prediction, because CPUs these days actually try to predict what is about to happen as well as what they're currently doing. And that unfortunately allows the various... If you were capable of accessing this shit and interpreting it, it would allow those various exploits to actually reveal what your CPU was trying to think about, and that could potentially reveal things like data you don't want them to know about, for example, passwords. It's a very long, convoluted process that in reality is primarily of concern to people that are running large virtualized systems, because by compromising the hardware they are capable of compromising the entire virtual system and therefore compromising every individual virtualized unit on it. So for cloud environments and so on like that, it's a big deal. Meltdown is specifically Intel related, but in the end kind of is the same thing to some extent. It's interesting, and hey, isn't it wonderful that we're all so emboldened to these wonderful companies that are not quite on top of what our current security requirements are, and so on. And you find out about data breaches just after they've happened rather than just before, and so on.
I saw Meltdown being described as a nuclear reactor blew up 20 years ago and we just found out about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It affects so many CPUs. It's literally, if you have a CPU from the last 15 years, then there you go. You're vulnerable to this. But at the same time, it's not at the fault of the hardware. It's at the fault of how the software uses the hardware. Yeah, exactly. In reality, it's how the software manages things. The hardware in itself is not intrinsically vulnerable. So, you can't really lay the hands completely at Intel's door, but it doesn't change the fact, or AMD's or whoever it is, depending on which one you're talking about, but it doesn't change the fact that these guys are obviously responsible for knowing about what weaknesses their hardware has and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Apparently this has been known about for about 6 or so months, and there was an NDA signed amongst the companies, but then researchers uncovered it themselves, and then that's how it's become public. But it has been known about.
And then you sell all
that Intel stuff.
Righty then, we're not doing very good testing here.
No,
I've got great testing music as well.
We're slagging off our companies.
Right.
Okay.
So we've got some cameras. We need like an equally tempting target.
I have a target.
It's not even an equal. No. What are we even trying to test here? We're trying to test if cameras actually unpowered attract turret attention. So let's get an enemy turret down and see what happens. That's all we need. There's some kind of ugly ship spawned in. Run away! It's horrible.
How rude.
How rude.
How rude. Right. What do you have in mind as enemy turrets go?
It doesn't matter. It's just about finding out whether or not it's actually interested in targeting an unpowered camera.
Right, let's put a mayfly on this thing and then I'll give it to the pirates.
Okay,
it shot them anyway.
It shot the... No, not only that, but it shot the camera over, like, the reactor or the spotlight or anything else.
Well, we've said it before, it's the SE meta. Go for the camera. They're not interested.
I think my mouse might have just run out of batteries. 2 seconds.
Okay.
There we go. Fixed. There's a camera here. Are you angry? There's another one. Are you angry? Whoa! It's angry at me! I am worse than any kind of camera that ever there could be. Way worse.
Okay, it's shooting at the cockpit over the cameras right now.
No, it's shooting at me, Wedgie.
Well, the other one's shooting at the cockpit over the cameras. Yeah, it's very much shooting at a cockpit. That's cross with me. I'm going to hide under the wing. Cockpit's gone. Now it's going for the battery.
It's not about decoy versus camera, though. Grey Night Jazz. It's about whether or not a camera is a viable target over the main ship. Because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something that's going to be able to act as a distraction for other fire or other ships that are coming in onto the target. So what we really want is something that's going to act as like a distraction above and beyond us. And it looks like cameras need to be powered in order to do that. Whereas I'm pretty damn certain that a decoy doesn't. So let me try what I just did, which was basically just fly past the ship but pasting in blocks. And see what happens if I do the same but paste in a decoy. Because I'm pretty sure that the decoys will just snap the targets to them, the turrets to them. They are keen on decoys. Hang on, why is it not firing anymore, Wedge?
Because I removed them. Okay, they should be angry again.
Yeah, look.
So these decoys that you're pasting in now.
Oh no, it's still more keen on me as a character. Do you want to turn characters off? This is hard. We really need to see if this is more keen on because I suspect that it's hard key to go for characters, but it's about characters versus ships, you know.
You could do it in spectator mode, so they're not bothered by you if you hide underneath the wings.
Okay, let me paste in a few ships here. Did I port away or what happened? I apparently have gone from wherever I was. Shit.
You might have been shot into the distance.
No. I just fucked up with the spectator camera.
Oh.
Okay, so we got a whole bunch of decoys. And then what we need is like the chakram, but at like equal distance. And then what I need to do is get the fuck rid of myself. To which point I'm going to turn my dampers off, accelerate backwards. Now if I press F9 I should be able to do so. There we go. Turn this around. We have targets for this full. Let's accelerate away and see who he goes for first.
Okay.
Relatively equal distance. We have decoys and an actual target. He looks keen for the decoys. Let's see if he goes for the ones behind the actual chakram first. He does. Look at that. Far more interested in the decoys than the enemy-owned ship.
Okay then.
Let's just make sure he shoots the ship after the decoys are dead. Because if he doesn't, then he wasn't interested in the ship at all in the first place. You know what I mean? What's he shooting at the moment?
I can't see what he's shooting at. Hang on, let me...
No, there we go. There we go. He's on the ship. So the ship definitely took a lower priority than the decoys or pretty much anything else, in fact. You know, that ship's got guns and cockpit and all of the usual functional components, but it went for the decoys first. Even though they were further away. So I take that to be a fairly conclusive and positive test that actually, if we can create ourselves like a decoy field, we can probably do something pretty useful with it.
Yeah.
We have also made a mess, so I'm going to reload.
I was going to say, didn't you just save so we didn't have to worry about making a mess?
I saved before we... Yeah, no,
yeah.
Don't worry. Recon details. Thanks for the donation, man. You could try the weapons pack Tex and Shako using it. It has a small decoy flare ejectors that would make great. That would be great. Has great stream. Okay. The last bit I think maybe contains typo. However, I don't know. Part of me wants to make my own decoy flares rather than have a mod that just does it for me. Given that I know I can. Now we've tested that. And that's more me, if you know what I mean. It's just like, fuck making a mod when we can just make it ourselves. We use a mod when we can't make it ourselves. I can't make shields. That thing I've learned. I've tried a few times with just like multi-layer armor and so on. Space Engineers just penetrates all that stuff because dodgy physics.
Can I make a suggestion?
No.
No. Oh, never mind.
Good boy.
I'm going to make it anyway.
Oh, you were doing so well.
Given that you've got hydrogen and oxygen generators on it, do you think you should just stick some extra hydro thrusters on it for the sake of a bit of forward acceleration?
No?
No. But it's like right there.
I mean, we could, but
that's
no.
That's like having a table with like a fantastically cooked meal.
I wanted to avoid that problem, Wedge. It drives me nuts when I'm flying a ship around. It's like, and have we got the thing I was relying on is now empty.
Well, don't rely on it. Just have it as a
Yeah, but that's easier said than done.
Off the line kind of thing. Only have it for acceleration, nothing else.
Okay. So
I don't have a spawn location.
Yeah. Well, I'm afraid, guys, Wedge has left the stream for this evening.
Oh, well, never mind. It was fun while it lasted.
I'm finding my base.
Don't worry, I'm gonna fly up in spectator and honk myself down close-ish.
How did you manage to spawn? I
Well,
thought you said you had no spawn location.
Well, no spawn location on the moon.
Oh,
Spawned
right,
myself
okay.
on Earth, and now I'm flying up.
Alright, we got... Yeah, that's because when I got in, everything was going ham on each other, so I just deleted everything and was like, be done with it. I've had enough. There is one up now. Okay, so we want... Holy Christ, what have I done to kill the Sims? I'm sorry, game. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Okay, we're back. We're back. I really want to have a right. What's going to be beneficial here? Thinking a use scenario. We're coming in to attack a vessel. We want to cover our attack. We're going to need these things firing at high speed. So that they are at the very least keeping up with our vessel. Now, ideally, they would be in front of the vessel. However, I don't think that's achievable, but from the results we just saw from the test, that's not a problem, because they'll still go for the decoys above everything else. Although they will go for the decoys even if they're still attached to the ship, so that's also worth remembering. So, do I want to try and add a rotor mechanism to try and spread these things out?
Rotor mechanism, so you go in high risk then?
Do we want to just leave like a carpet of them and work on the basis of cooperation, and this is going to be a ship that's helping others to finish the fight? Because that sort of setup would require it to sort of fly through, laying down a carpet, avoiding fire, and then maybe come back in, or maybe just rely on the people following. Whereas otherwise you need some method of launching them in front of you, or at least level with you, I think, so that they get targeted above your... Or you could set them up where they launch and then you slow down. I suppose. You could set them up where you come into a target, launch your decoys ahead, and then slow down and use them as cover. That might be the best plan. Yes, I think actually I'm going to build some underwing decoy launchers.
Well, I should probably build the wings then. Oh, I thought the wings were going to have, like, torpedoes.
Well, we're going to have 2 torpedoes, so I can think Apache.
Oh, okay.
As far as wing weapon
like
layout is concerned, so we've got
then.
pylons and we've got an underwing. I mean, if nothing else, then we can modularize it for later, and be able to like, okay, so we've now got a pylon system that works. What weapons do we want on our pylons? You know, that could be quite cool. Okay, so yeah. Well,
yeah, I'm building the wings, like I say.
I'm thinking fairly stubby, and I'm thinking as far as my decoy pod is concerned, I'm thinking something quite compact. That looks like a sort of. Have you seen Commando?
No, I haven't.
With Arnie.
I haven't.
Of course you haven't. You uncultured fool. Because Arnie is culture.
Wow. Really?
Damn right. Yep.
Really?
Culture. If you haven't seen Arnie, you're not cultured. That's how it works. No, I'm thinking sort of if you imagine an MLRS, for example, like one of those multi-barrel rocket launchers, but something shoulder mounted, like something flat square, rocket tubes. Those rocket tubes are actually decoys. That's one of our pods. The other one is just like a proper Apache-style pylon with 3 rockets on it that launch independently.
Who's to say? Can't switch out what we need depending on what we're doing.
I would prefer both.
Okay, well, you want to have your cake and eat it? I'm sure we'll try and find a way of making a quantum cake that can be had and eaten at the same time.
Quantum cake? The best kind of cake.
Yes.
If I said to you, "Hey, Mr. Wedgehog, I've got cake. You can pick. I've got some cheesecake. I've got some Black Forest fruitcake. and I've got some quantum cake. Which cake are you about to
Quantum
take?
cake sounds,
And you'd be like,
pretty
you know
good.
what? Give me some of that quantum cake. I'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree on that one. The quantum cake does sound rather interesting.
So, quantum cake? Just say what I thought you said. Yeah. Damn right I did. You want some quantum cake? With quantum cake with cellulose peptide icing. Yes, indeed, Farrell. Wedgie. Your wings are short and stumpy. However,
Well, you wanted them short and stumpy.
no, actually, you're good. You're good. I just struggling to envisage fitting our desired weapon loadout actually into this available space, but it's fine.
Well, I'm sure you can do that. I mean, you're clever enough, aren't you?
Listen to him. Just the salt oozing from every vein.
Finally hitting my stride.
Well, there you go.
Oh, fuck.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wedge.
Oh, shit. Mirror mode's not on.
Holy shit, I made a cool shape. It's not quite perfect, but that's a shape I've not seen before, and it actually worked for this thing.
I'm chopping the wing off. I'm doing it again.
No! 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 It's so good.
We do it right, or we don't do it at all.
Where's my launcher?
I'll be honest. I want to redo
Righty
the wing
then.
anyway.
Wedgie.
I want to redo it anyway.
God damn it! Launcher, let me fire it, Wedgie. Right. You blocks. Out of the way. Let's
To be honest,
exterminate.
I was doing us both a favour there, given that we had no...
You there? God. Whoa! The clang. Alright, I'm staying out of the rocket launcher.
Good, you'll only make yourself feel sick flying that thing or whatever. Or
Wedge,
playing in it.
I was building
Oh.
things.
Well, yeah, and then... neither
And
of us
then
had it on
someone
mirror mode.
removed the wings. Yes, indeed.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And we're going to have better wings. Let's just say that was the trial run for the wing.
Rip wasted school shape. That's what it's come to.
I'm sure you can build something equally as cool, if not cooler.
I feel slightly judged on the basis that apparently that's what my life has come to.
What?
Cool shapes. And that's where I'm the most excited. Ooh, cool shape. Yes. Yes. Cool shape. Cool shape. Yeah. That's right. At least we got jazz. Wow. Look at that. Don't move, Wedge. Try and build while standing still, if you can.
I'll try.
Like not flying around, just rotate. Because otherwise you are getting your jam on. He's just there in his chair. Oh yeah, nodding the head.
First time round, the wings were pretty narrow, so I thought, you know what, let's bulk them up a bit so they're less likely to break
Chunky.
off after one hit. Yeah, chunky wings? Well, it's a chunky ship. Right, now I've got to move.
You're all good. The track ended.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't disappoint. Right.
Can you build a bottom bit onto that wing so that I can start building the rocket
A
pod that's
bottom.
going to be the inside weapon?
Bottom is what you like.
A bottom,
Right. A bottom.
please. And bottom, please.
And bottom.
Upper bottom.
Upper bottom.
which is a town not that far from me. And,
By any
and
chance, is that where Reed Edmonds
however
and
much
Rick
of an
Mail came
adult
from?
you might feel you are, you still have a little bit of a chuckle every time you pass up a bottom.
Well, apparently there used to be an old tube.
It's up a bottom.
It gets better because apparently there used to be an old tube station called Ball's Pond.
There is just a wonderful amount of just really ridiculously named towns in the UK. It's wonderful.
Whenever I was young and we were driving into like Windsor or something, I'd always exclaim like an idiot, because I was an idiot back then, whenever we went past the town with the name of Gaydon, which is famous because
Gaydon's
that's
not far up from us.
That's where they manufacture Aston Martin vehicles, I believe.
I have nearest to us is the McLaren factory in Worthing, but not an amusing name particularly.
No, not really.
I think that's the same shape, but it could have started like that. I don't know. Wedgie ruined it. It was also good, and then Wedgie spoiled it, the little fucker.
Do you not have the original one down on the floor that you can maybe have?
No, go away!
Am I using logic on you again? Don't you like it?
Don't make me reference it. How dare you. Dirty boy. Right, if you can give me a slightly wider weapon mount at the back that's slightly offset from that, but not much wider, that would be great for a couple.
Wider.
That would be great for a couple of torpedoes. So we've got like our decoy mount at the front, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
If you can see where that sits, I'm going to fit the decoys onto the front of that.
I'll see what I can do.
And then you fit a second, just literally a torpedo mount slightly behind it. And I think that'll have a nice Apache / I don't know what mix.
Do you remember way back when in the very first episode of this where we thought we were going to be having torpedoes straight away?
Yeah.
And we're only just starting to get them now. How many episodes in are we?
You say starting to get them now. We're playing in creative, dude. We can't actually make this ship yet.
Oh, indeed.
Bring yourself back down to... Wedgie, back down to Earth for a second, please.
On the fucking moon.
Okay, so we're launching decoys. Is there any funky way I can like massively capitalize the space on we've got on this to launch more decoys than I should? Or are we going to try and launch 2 decoys at once? Because let me think. I can get one there if I do some weird ugly shit. One there, and...
Men's weird ugly shit then.
Technically one there, so I could technically get 4. Roger, let's commence the weirdest mount for decoys ever.
I like the thought that this thing's
I can't.
kind of, well, ugly as ships go, but like it's got character to it because it's kind of the bruiser of the fleet.
Well, it's Boris too.
Yeah.
So that in itself, it's a bunker. That in itself is kind of appropriate because it should be chunky. It should be a bit of a bruiser. And in itself, a little bit not quite as pretty as it could be, but that's fine because that's part of it being a bunker.
Well,
or Boris's heritage. In other
I'm
words.
filling in the wing cavities unless there's something you want to stick in there, because the wings are going to be plated over with, well, you can probably put conveyors in or something if you need them. I mean, strictly speaking,
do you need to fill them in? Because there's an element of lightness to this that might
There
actually
is an
be
element
quite
of
good.
lightness, yes, but I was thinking if we filled them in, it'll mean you can take more than one hit on the wing before they fall off.
You are a crazy man. Fucking hell.
I know.
Do you hear him, chat? Do you hear this guy? Can you believe what I've got to work with?
I should be committed.
He talks this mad talk about survivability and like not losing wings and stuff, and then you're like, yeah, but hang on a second, this is Wedgie. No, fine. Fill them in. I mean, to be fair, I do feel like our shields are going to end up representing a lot of what
probably.
defense we do actually have. But
that is true.
Okay, I can do that better than that. Oh, Space Engineers, if only you would delete the block I was looking at rather than the block you fancied. That would be wonderful. You and me would both have much better times, I think. I meant me and Space Engineers, but I think that probably also applies to you and me as well, Wedge. Probably. I think just in general, we'd all have a better time if Space Engineers could just like actually be bothered to delete the block you were looking at, rather than like whatever block it fancied. Or sometimes just making the blump noise and not actually deleting a block at all. Because, you know, why not? That's fun.
I know it's not meant to be atmospheric, but in the event that it does fall into an atmosphere, we could put the atmospheric wings in this armor sandwich. And then you could fit like SRBs to the little stumps to get it back up if you wanted. I mean, there's a contingency plan for, oh hey, we're fighting right next to the planet, we're deorbiting, and we're beyond the range of the ions saving us. It might not hurt. Is this me being an absolute madman again?
You sound like you got a plan. That's the problem.
I just like to have contingencies in place for when shit hits the fan, and given our track record, shit is, you know, perpetually flying into those fan blades and going everywhere, so... if I can put an umbrella up every now and then, I'm gonna do that.
Are there any bobs around? Oh, there are, but
bobs?
They aren't configured. It's fine.
Oh.
It's important they're not, because if they are,
We in trouble.
because the way I'm just thinking that, you know, the way this blueprint's going to work is the bob's going to grind the block for us. So I need to have those blocks pink in the blueprint to launch them. I mean, look, me and Wedgie can occasionally be productive. Ironically, after all of the fiddling around, we ended up with the 4 frontal guns that I talked about at the start. I don't know, and to be fair, those Mark 1 batteries are so strong that 4 frontal guns is actually kind of fine. What have I done to my... Why is there no world in the world anymore?
What
Space
do you mean,
Engineers...
why is there no... What?
Space Engineers, what on earth have you... Yes, this is indeed the world. Well done. How even? This is only half the world, surely. Near-facing surfaces are allowed to walk on, and not much else. What I find amazing is the fact that they managed to like consistently find new ways of... That they managed to change it so frequently. Like each time there's a new bug for you to find, and a new thing that's not the same as what you found before. If they could apply this same ingenuity to the game design,
Imagine what we could have. I know.
Can you imagine?
Be stunning. Be like a game you'd actually want to play.
Wedgie has provided us with wings, ladies and gentlemen. Do you see? And after all the talk of how he wanted to buff them up and make them thicker, and
Well,
more,
I have made them thicker.
and more sweet, He then left because of Sexy. A little gap here.
Oh, I can do something about that.
No, it's fine. Leave that little gap, Wedgie.
Oh, it can still have the little gap.
I'm there with Sexy as well. It's fine. John, you're underground, says chat. And that might have been the case. Look, leave me alone. Leave me alone. It's 2:30 in the morning. It's late. Go away. Wedgie, chat are giving me hate.
Well,
Help.
give them hate back.
I just did. It doesn't seem to work.
Okay, then. Well, yeah, you know.
Okay, I will accept your half-lock implementation. Pretty
get
nice.
Sexy and strength.
Yep.
Best of both worlds.
No,
Say that to
I'm down with that. I'm down with that. She's stud. Boris 2 is going to be a lot prettier than Boris 1. AKA Ivanka, but that's probably appropriate. It's Boris's sexy sister.
You're gonna hate me for saying this. You want it to fit in Tex's thing, don't you?
Ideally, but are we
Ideally,
already
yes.
too large? I'm not massively bothered, but that was the hope. But I suspect we're already too big, or at least at maximum size. We're missing a lot of thrust here.
Yeah.
Maybe, in fact, maybe those side portions that you were filling in there for Ivanka were actually where ion thrusters should be going for our upwards thrust.
I was going to say spine mount the ions.
No, I quite like wing-mounted ions. I quite like the symmetry of it, and I'm thinking like that spot there could potentially sit quite nicely for it. You can line some up centrally like that without spoiling the lines of the ship, you know.
Or leave the sexy ones in there, and we could do what Tex wants us to do, and slap these in.
Oh, you sneaky little git. How dare you use mods that we have turned on? Fucking hell, look at him. God damn it, that Tex fire.
He's a bad influence.
He's an instigator. That's what he is. Hope you guys realise this. He seems like a nice guy, that Tex. But in reality, he is an instigator. Missing a lot of thrust. I think you're missing all but braking thrust. Yes. But what I do propose for this ship is to have massive rear thrusters, because in reality, I think the best way a ship of this size can engage the target is not only by launching its decoys at maximum speed possible, but also by potentially not hanging around for too long. Now, part of me feels like, how do you feel about a over-the-top design, kind of almost as if it's got one of those new style. I don't know if we can do this better with the small thrusters and the armored thruster mod, but you know what I mean, like a kind of a mono thruster, as if it comes along as a single thruster along the rear end of the ship, like the wings extended back out again. You know what I mean? Kind of like that.
The wings, so you want it to be like that, or do you want it to be flipped the other way?
What do you mean? No, inwards? No. I think extending it back out again gives us extra room there.
Okay. Now, when I say inwards, I mean leave the central one there, but instead of having the outer ones going in, have them going out.
What, as a second row?
Yeah. Hang on, let's
you
see.
Could possibly do that, yeah. I'd be down for that. And actually, who is it? I missed it. There it is. Sea Rocket Slim. Natasha would be a better partner to Boris than Ivanka. You are completely correct, sir. Natasha would indeed be a better partner, just because we can channel a bit of bond while doing so. So, no, I'm with you there. I'm not sure those fit, having not used them at all. But maybe they do. I don't know. Were those heavy ones?
Those are large armor thrusters.
The texture hasn't been updated, unfortunately.
No, it's still pretty old school, that texture.
It's quite ugly. Like, if you compare it to the rest of the blocks, does it get any better if you paint it dark? Like, slap one down and paint it like black or something and see.
The small ones aren't nearly as bad by the looks of things.
Try whacking down a big one and painting it black. Yeah, the small ones are much better. Look at those, yeah. The small ones have the texture correct, and the big ones are just scaling it really wrong. To be fair, it might look better with... I don't know. I really want to add the modular. If you guys have seen the modular thruster mod is one of my favourites of the lot. It's been updated from time to time, and then from time to time it's been broken. So I've got some workshop blueprints that are up there that are. Let's have a look. If I search for not freelander, close wasted freelancer, hopefully we can. Really. Yes. Not my favourites.
I was going to say, eventually I do want those modular thrusters for something that I might build. Actually, no, I'm not going to build it.
A Corsair. Oh wow! Some other people have made some. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. I think I win, still. Not bad, but... The wasted space, Freelancer Corsair. But yeah, the modular thruster mod that I was using for this, that lets you build these like big single engines like this that are all angled and super sexy. It's almost better on the Legionnaire, but... Kind of nice. I think I used them on the nicest ship I made with them, actually. I think it was the Qatar. I made a fighter that was using them. It was nothing to do with any sort of... Yeah, this one. No, actually. This is the puppy. Look at those. Sexy thrusters. You can make some really pretty shapes with them. Might have to get those back on, Wedgie.
Well, yeah.
Are they still as overpowered as they used to be? Because they really were overpowered.
They were pretty overpowered.
They were so strong. Matthew Skur, thank you very much, man. Good to see you again. Thank you for joining the stream. I hope you and Wendy are well. Hey, listen, tell Wedge that Wendy asked... That Wendy and I said hi. All right, Wedge. Matthew and Wendy said hi.
Hey, Matt and Wendy.
Love the uncooperative stream and keep up the good work. Well, I will endeavour to. All sorts of weird stuff coming up. No, okay. I'd like your slightly offset layout of those thrusters, so keep going. But
no, I'm
part of me wants those modular now.
I want the modular ones now. I want the modular ones now.
We have 15 minutes left on the stream is the problem, Wedgie.
Well, why don't we?
I tell you what. Let's quickly demonstrate why the modular thrusters are just like... Seriously, they look so awesome. We've got to test whether or not they're still quite as overpowered as they used to be. I should be able to modify it. If they are like crazy strong, I should be able to modify the parameters of the mod to make it not quite so stupid. But yeah. Yeah. Coming up.
I might have put a little something in our private chat for final appearance of Boris, because it's kind of similar to something that I built once, with how it's going now.
Shh. Are you telling me that you've rebuilt your... Yeah, you are. You're rebuilding a ship you've already built.
A little bit.
You can't trust this, Wedgie.
You might not be able to trust me, but that ship...
You're like, rebuild, Wedgie, and he's like, okay, I'll rebuild the same thing I've already built.
Technically, I never released that one. That's still kind of under wraps. So...
Secret ship! Quick, show it to the stream.
No.
Well then, guys, I mean, we're heading up towards the end. Next week, we also have another week without text fire. So, how about this? Chat, what do you guys fancy we do? Obviously, we did a bit of a prototyping mess around stream this evening, because I really don't want to progress too far without text around. We're in the middle of a war against the drones, and doing too much without him there feels a bit sacrilege. We need Tex. No one else can fly the good intentions, if nothing else. That's Tex's ship. So, what do you guys reckon we should do for next Tuesday's stream? Like, do we continue prototyping? Do we? One thing that me and Wedge have been thinking about doing for a while is there's this crazy rotor mod that ups the rotor RPM to like 6,000 and increases the torque and does all sorts of stuff that seems semi-stable for the most part, that we might be able to do like a mad BattleBot stream on or something. But what do you folks reckon? And of course, I would also say, if you guys have enjoyed the stream, then some likes, some comments, all that sort of stuff. It's always appreciated. If you're new to the channel, little subscribe button there. Just lurks around, waving at you, saying hello. Hello there. You look new.
Is the world back up?
It is, yes. Warship build-off. Well, that was one thing I thought about for this evening, was because I knew we were going to end up doing a fighter, was saying to Wedge, hey, how about we do fighters, and then at the end of the stream we compete in them. But I don't know. While this is uncooperative survival, it's still, we're heading towards the same goal. So we could do that next week, but yeah, I'm intrigued to see what people think. Overall, prototype another battleship. Yeah, okay. I've got some ideas for other things we could do. Build off is up there. Insane rotors sound awesome. Planet Spider. We could go back to the Clangineers. That's also a thing. The only sad thing with that is just the fact that the turrets are so broken with it. Like, it just kind of semi-ruins it just because, oh no, there are spiders. That means we can't have turrets turned on to shoot them, because if they do, they just empty all their ammo. And it's really sad that they haven't fixed that.
I think we're better putting our eggs in this basket as well, given that we're a lot more invested in it, so I don't know, I'd be happy continuing the prototypes next week, unless chat decides otherwise and they want to see crazy. I'm just intrigued to see what
people think. Show the modular thrusters real quick. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Just check that they're working. I was hoping Wedgie was going to come in and help me demo, because as far as the thrusters are concerned, this is kind of his side of things, but this wasn't the original mod I used. The original mod I used actually had more variants than this. But...
no, that one still exists. It's been re-uploaded. I'll
has it been fixed?
Yeah, there is another version of it that has
nice.
the better variant somewhere.
Because the mod that was the Corsair and so on was built on was not Sectan's one, the one we have here.
I'll go and find what it is.
No. Oh, why did you do that? Wedgie, it takes ages to reload. And now we have less than 10 minutes left.
Well,
Wedgie.
Damn it. I'll come back. However, I will say, perhaps for when we do return proper, we should have the other one.
I consider the first one. And the slightly superior one, in reality. While Sectan's one here is very pretty, and as you can see, I don't know, it's just nice being able to make a thruster that ends up looking like one contiguous thruster, rather than something else. But this is not the one that we were talking about. Oh, come on, I got 10 minutes left. Let me load up the real one, because if I load up the real one, in theory, if it works, I can also load up some of my old blueprints that demonstrate it. So, mods. Where we at? Clang Bomb. What else we got? Let's make a smart turret mod for it. Salvage a ship design. Fight the space worm. I'm not aware of the space worm. You have to introduce me to him. When's the next episode of Stalker coming out? As soon as I figure out multiple problems. Hack on the... Look, is this one? Is the modular thrusters back up, right?
I think so. Let me see. It's definitely. I'm definitely looking at it in a list.
I think that's the right one. I think I've actually come across it as well. Yeah. So like, Stalker has some really weird mechanics. Like if we're currently on a mission in Stalker where we've got to sneak into this army base, and like the guys in there are very well equipped. They've got searchlights all over the place. Like it's at the edge of the coordinates, the entrance to the zone, and they are prepared. And we've got to sneak in there and steal some shit and maybe gather some other stuff. But Stalker has some, because it's so old and while amazing, has only been updated to still work in a way that we'd still be willing to play it. Has some funny mechanics. Like, for example, if you happen to load in an area where there are enemies nearby, they all immediately aggro on you. Now, I didn't know this. So I spent about an hour trying to record me stealthing into this base, having quick saved a point just outside entering the base itself, but inside the aggro range of everybody within the base. And then there's literally an hour of me just reloading the mission, trying to jump over the same set of crates in a slightly different fashion where I'm crouched in a slightly different way to figure out why the hell every time I jump over this set of crates, they can see me. And yeah. Unsurprisingly, I don't figure it out. And then I go and look it up afterwards and I'm like, oh, I see. That's how Stalker works. Good to know. Sounds fun. And on that basis... Oh, a Titan? Let's get a Titan. Oh, nice. This one actually works thruster-wise with the ships I've made as well. Oh god, they've got no cockpits. That's a shame. I've got the armor ramp mod on for these too.
I've just remembered something about these ion thrusters that we're using as well. They work in planets.
Lol.
So if you give this thing wings, Boris will be able to fly and fight anywhere.
Dodgy. Sounds like it's made of cheats, Wedgie.
Well, bring
well,
down
you have no defense. No, it sounds like it's made of cheats.
It is made of cheats, but I'd like to see what Lucas will do to screw us over for well, what's blatantly cheating now.
Oh, if we put this mod on, I have to remake the Qatar and just put some Mark 1 batteries in the front and some shields on board somewhere. Boom. Ash is fine. British ship. Well then, we're swiftly running out of time. That's what the modular thrusters are like. They enable you to do some really cool, like, built-in designs and also make some shapes that look really damn awesome, to be honest, as far as the thrusters are concerned. Like, really build them as if there's a single thruster unit rather than just a whole ton of individual thrusters, which at times is quite a nice thing to have. But hey, thanks for joining us, guys. If you enjoyed this tonight, then obviously please hit that like button. Helps me out. If you haven't enjoyed it, then there is a dislike button. I suppose you could smash on that. If you're going to smash on that, then let me know why you're smashing on that. That's always helpful. Then maybe something might be different next time instead of just smashing on it and then expecting something to change without saying a fucking word. But you know what? That's not a point we should dwell on. Mr. Wedge, thank you for joining me. Don't forget you can go and check out Mr. Wedge on twitch.tv/justwedgehog. Also, wedgehog95.tv. Fuckhead.
Oh, fuckhead, yeah. That works too. You will still find me.
You will find him somehow, because he is the Wedgehog and he is insidious. Cheers, guys. It's been fun. I'll catch you next week, where we will be doing some crazy shit. I'm not sure entirely which one of your ideas we'll pick yet, but we'll have a chat with it and see what we have an idea on. I don't know. We need to find something that's going to actually entertain us for 4 hours rather than just one. Or maybe we do all of them. Something like that. But tonight we have made the starts on a much more attractive Boris, known as Natasha. And we have a turret and also a miner. Not bad. Not bad. Miner looks good. Turret, probably quite dangerous. But, you know, that's what you want from a turret. It's just this one's probably a little bit more dangerous to ourselves than anything else. But hey, cheers guys. It's been a pleasure, as it always is.
Have a good night, everyone. We'll be back with something soon, maybe.
Eventually, one time.
Yeah.
Sort of. Maybe.
Watch this space.